Hello everybody, big welcome to a Sisay cEDH primer, you could say, where we are going to sit down and talk about how to build Sisay and different cards about her. And with me I have 3 hardcore tournament masters on Sisay with actually lots of different variations to their builds. And even though they are playing sometimes even the same build, they still have a lot of different cards that they are mixing with. And as you can see, unique cards in Sisay is actually quite high in comparison to how many games she's been playing. So there's a lot of experiments around out there. Now with me today, I have Trent.
Talaria East, owner of Talaria East Inc., lover of all things Sisay. We love it.
We also have the famous Malcolm X, who's been playing a lot of Sisay for quite some time.
I am a Sisay One Trick. It's my favorite deck. I'm the leader of the Sisay Discord. If you're coming on in, come see us.
And last but not least, he's actually here even though it's not moving, but turtles are kind of slow.
That's right. I'm taking my sweet time. I am a Turtle Pod, the Commissioner of March Meltdown, and it's just the best deck. I played you.
We're starting it off strong.
That's right.
The chowder is here to
That's my motto. It's my slogan. It's my motto, and it's good to be here. Thank you.
Trent, you actually mentioned something interesting there. Chowder. What is that? Because that's the kind of stuff you kept talking to me about when we started to have this conversation.
Yes. So Mr. Turtle can jump in at any time, but if I remember right, chowder is supposed to just represent a soup build as far as Sisay goes, right?
That's
Breach,
right.
Thorical, Cauldron, if you.
Yeah. So the people who really originated the deck, we had Sick Robot who gave us the idea, but the rest of us are from Boston, and chowder's just a soup from Boston. The name comes from, and it generally covers the Thorical, Breach, Adnaz versions of the deck where our lists are like we usually conceptualize it as we're essentially playing like a Kenrith or a blue farm deck, but with Sisay as the commander. And so you won't find any legendary creature that doesn't have like a plausible likelihood of being in some other deck that's not running Sisay as the commander. That's usually how we define it.
So just looking at this build right here, this is a not traditional Sisay build, so to say. Now, big explanation for all of you who are watching. This PDF file we're looking at right here is a data constructed that you can find here by clicking that page right there. Now you can watch this entire video by viewing the PDF file if you want to, or download it and watch it and read it later. Or if you don't want to listen to our jabbering, you can just download it yourself and just read it yourself, and you don't need to like go over everything we're saying. We're gonna try to just talk about this as if you're driving your car and you can't watch the actual video because the video is gonna be quite long. But in the description below of this video, you can find this page you're seeing right now, but also the 3 different deck lists these 3 crazy people, guests, have brought us.
No, crazy people's accurate, painfully accurate.
Terribly accurate.
All right. But for anyone who is experienced at Sisay, this isn't the typical Sisay you usually see. This is literally like you said, the legendary account. Well, Ashling is a little bit weird.
Yeah, Ashling is a tech card I'm testing, but otherwise it's very low. When we're building these decks, we usually use a metric that we refer to as the bad card burden. Now, the legends that you'll see in the regular ones aren't actually bad cards. They're very good in traditional Sisay. It's just what we refer to. And so if a legend is something like, Malcolm, what's the worst legend you've
The worst legend I currently run is probably Sokka.
Okay, Sokka would be we'd give a full point to. Then you have legends that are cards that are a little bit unclear, but we might run because Sisay like Selvala would get like a half a point. And then cards like Kinnan or Ragavan, which everyone runs, you get 0 points. And then we add it up and we try and keep the number at like 6.5 or 5.5. So we keep it very low as far as our like Sisay debt goes.
That's a good way to put that.
That's how we think about it.
So you have like a point system to the legendaries, you could almost say?
Yeah, it's kind of intuitive, but cards like Sokka or there's like, I don't know, Vraska Gangs Up or something. These cards are like legendary cards that you would see in no other deck except for a Sisay deck, that's a full point. If you might see it occasionally, it's a half point. And then, so half point ones, I said Sovala is very powerful. So it's usually like a half point. Or Derevi's a half point because it's fairly strong on its own, but it's not usually seen in other decks. And then just a 0 point for the cards that are like Ragavan, which anyone runs in our legendary. So there is a point system. We use it. If it gets too high, it starts sort of morphing your chowder deck into sort of like a hybrid between traditional and chowder. So that's usually how we think about it.
So you're trying to have a low count so you don't destroy your Grixis stuff, so to say.
Yeah, a lot of the Sisay tutor chain stuff ends up being non-synergistic with like aggressively being able to necro on 1 or 2 or being able to Naz in your main phase with no mana left over. And so they end up being a bit of a burden in that capacity. So we have to keep it low to prevent them from, I don't know, attacking your life when you're Nazing or being dead flipped off of a Necropotent.
Now we actually have a point system here too. We can do something like this, where we take this here, copy, and drop it into the compare section. And that was the one. Then take this list here, copy, and drop it into the other side, and you can analyze the two deck lists kind of a little bit versus each other. Ooh. Sorry, I'm making Malcolm block some of the numbers there, but that's fine. He's too important.
He's too important to see. Everyone's got to know him.
Yeah.
Now, I did have some questions myself about. I see at the top that it's the analyzer function where it like does clusters and such. What exactly? What do we? Oh, okay, I see. So yeah, how exactly does this work out?
So the entire system inside this is that we have a data that have been collected, and the data is trying to look at 2 cards together and look at how good they are winning. So no card is actually valued individually. They're always valued in pairs. So if you take,
so it's based off their literal synergy. Okay.
Exactly. But you can also say their individual power is ranked too, because for example, you have Sol Ring Command Tower. That's a pair. There's no synergy, but the cards are kind of good, so they're gonna get. Yeah.
Makes sense.
What you can basically do is that you can take different cards, combine them together into a sort of cluster where you see how good the cards are in the group, so to say. And you can evaluate if, oh wait, there's a card here that doesn't really contribute good to this group of cards, so to say. For example, a Braid has a lower power rank on 4.9 in this case. And that's how you can kind of compare cards versus other cards and synergies between cards.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. You know, a lot of people, especially for like a sake of like an oath build, where you play like Chromatic Ori, you play Cultist with the Absolute, and you might play Diada. All of these cards are perfectly powerful cards by themselves, but you don't necessarily need to play all 3 of them for each of the cards to be good. That's just a really good way to like show that, like just as a specific group. It's very cool.
One thing I want to emphasize heavily here, though, is that if you go into this PDF file and you start scrolling around and finding numbers here and there, it can be not misleading, but sometimes you can just look at a raw number and say, oh, this is the truth, but sometimes you need to think a little bit. And that's what I hope we're going to kind of guide you through in this video, so to say. So you have to apply a little bit of your own cEDH knowledge combined with like, okay, how good has this card actually been performing?
So it's not just about like just looking at raw numbers. You also have to have like a little bit of intuition as far as like cEDH goes.
Yeah.
Which like if you're competing, you should have some, right?
Yeah.
I figure we got some questions we wanted to talk about each of these deck lists.
For sure.
We can jump right into that, I think.
Yeah, I'm ready to jump right in.
Yeah. By all means. Let's start with Mr. Turtlepod himself. I think talking about the chatter builds that's going to make a lot of people very happy if we talk about that first.
Absolutely. So I have a couple cards that we're going to talk about. The first one that is probably catching everybody's eye and isn't in the you won't find it in the PDF because I believe I'm the only person who's testing it right now, is Ashling Flame Dancer. So Ashling is a 4-mana 4/4. You don't lose red mana as steps or phases end. this is relevant for banking red mana. It does come up when you're doing storm-related activities. But the bigger aspect is that it has Magecraft. So every time you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, you discard a card and then draw a card. If it's the second time this turn this is triggered, deal 2 damage to each enemy, and if it's enemy and each creature they control. And if it's the third time it is triggered this turn, make 4 red mana. So this is a card I'm testing for a couple reasons. One, I was I have a good buddy of mine who brews Scion of the Ur-Dragon, and he has a card in his deck, Corvold, which is not meant for any Scion combo, but essentially it allows him to turn his commander into a hard value engine. And I was similarly playing a lot of games in this Rhetorik study meta where everyone's got 20 or 30 cards in their hands, and they're taking a bunch of game actions. And so I was curious, what would be a good card that Sisay could tutor that would just be a haymaker for this kind of scenario? And I thought Ashling would be a good chance. So notable obvious combos would be a Flusterstorm or a Brain Freeze with this card. Essentially is like a Tainted Pact. Like you just go through 20 cards in your deck and select the best ones. You fill your graveyard up. It's the same with Flusterstorm. But what I thought was a really cool angle is that it's fairly effective at interacting with Kinnan in the sort of late game of flash fights. So if you think about the end of the game where everyone's got a Valley Flood Collar and people are taking actions, if a Kinnan takes a game action and you respond with your Force of Will and they respond with their Fierce Guardianship, if you keep going 1 for 1, you end up, you're highly likely to find yourself in a situation where another deck wins on top. What Ashling does with the deal 2 damage to each enemy creature is that essentially it's going to pose the Kinnan player with 2 problems at the same time. So if they cast a Basalt, and then you cast a counterspell, and then they cast a counterspell, now your second counterspell not only counters the Basalt back, but it also blows up their board. And I have found that instances where you make your opponents try and solve multiple problems at the same time is very good in these flash fights, because instead of being able to respond with a counterspell and then waiting to the end to go off, they now have to try and go off on top of this or stifle the trigger and also stop you from countering their Basalt. Because if you weren't threatening to kill their Kinnan also, they would just counter back, and then at the very end they would play their Hullbreaker Horror or whatever. So instead you sort of force them to respond with a win attempt because they're also going to lose their Kinnan, as opposed to the alternative of just using counterspell. So I have found that to be good. I've only gotten a couple games under my belt testing it, but when Ashland comes up, it has certainly won me a couple games by nuking everybody's board and drawing me into extra interaction. So I have found that it's promising, but I'm still testing it.
I have a question, actually.
Certainly.
I mean, this is a 4 CMC legendary. Isn't she hard?
Right.
Like, how many? It feels like you're never really tutoring for this. Or have that actually happened quite a lot?
That's true. How do you buff up Sisay enough to actually get her?
Usually Kinnan is involved.
Makes sense.
Kinnan will add 2 to Sisay, so I just need 1 other thing, and then he'll give me a lot of mana, either via like Cabbages or with a Smothering Tithe. The other main play pattern of this is I'm getting her on somebody else's turn usually, especially off of a Smothering Tithe, whereas traditionally, another card we'll talk about next is Necrodominance. For Necrodominance, if I have a bunch of mana and a Sisay that's broadly large enough, I'm just going to get a Necrodominance and I'm going to win the game. So if it's someone else's turn, I can't use the Necrodominance. So Ashland comes up then, and I haven't really run into a lot of instances where I would want her, but also couldn't spin for her with Sisay. The play pattern of those games usually involves Sisay being large enough to get her or to get a Kinnan and chain into her. So I haven't found that to be too much of an issue there. I also run a lot of like red rituals, so I can just cast her.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you can always have legendaries in your build even though you're not tutoring for them. Like drawing into them is fine. I never actually considered the idea with Flusterstorm and Brain Fist. That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, once you get even a brain freeze for 6 is just going to put 40 cards in your graveyard. It'll find you something to do with it. I run a lot of tutors for breach, so it's pretty good. Oh, Chain of Vapor also works with it.
I would say
yeah.
literally anything where you can copy the chain or like storm what have you.
Yeah, because the chain also gives you stuff you can discard to her to draw more. So if you just want to
I've seen some chowder players in place of Ashling play like oh crap, I just
Storm Killing Artist.
Thank you so much, Jesus
Yeah.
H. Yeah, Storm Killing Artist, where like the mana is important, but I like where you said where like it kind of puts like that crisis on the table where it's like, oh yeah, we're just trying to bank some red mana. Just kidding, we're counter warring, and then we're gonna blow up everything you got.
Right. Yeah. So forcing people to deal with multiple problems at once means that they can't be counterspelling equitably, so they have to try a win attempt. And ideally, you want everyone's win attempts on the table before yours instead of after.
Makes sense. I like it. I like it.
So the next card that was sort of unique is Necrodominance.
Can I actually just mention something here?
Oh yeah, certainly.
Ashling, so I just looked at it pretty quickly. We don't like have that much data on it, but I've noticed that a lot of tournament decks actually play this strange thing. So maybe you're onto something.
I hope so. I love being vindicated. The next card is Necrodominance. I believe that's page 301 in the PDF for those reading along. And so Necrodominance is an interesting one. So we have a couple. We have sort of a couple things. It's obviously not as strong as regular Necropotence. I don't find myself casting it very often. And this card is, a bit of a controversial one, even among Chatterpaths. Some people are playing Burgi for Harnfell in that spot, but generally the idea is with Sisay, with your Smothering Tides and your Cabbage Man, you can make a lot of mana, and sometimes you want to get to your turn and just win. And this card, once you're in that position, this card will just end the game pretty thoroughly. We're on Final Fortune, Valley Floodcaller, and Born, so we don't really have an issue. Another cute thing you can do is you can grab your Teferi Time Reveler and up it, which gives your sorceries flash.
Yeah.
And so if we have a tithe, my tutor chain, in Sisay, especially off of like a Smothering Tithe, is grab Necrodominance, grab Teferi plus Teferi, pay 40 life, or just under 40 life. And then with your sorceries having flash, your Demonic Tutor will find Born, you'll get there. So I have been very impressed with this card when it comes up. I'm rarely hard casting it. Sometimes you have a weird game and this is the outlet that you need to go for. So I will cast it, but generally it's just there as an absolute bomb. A lot of people forget that this card is legendary. It is, and you can spin for it, and it will end the game very quickly. So I'm very fond of it in that respect.
I agree with you. I love this card.
Necropotence 2.
That's right. That's right. So the next card to talk about I have is Orcish Bowmasters.
Sorry. Does anyone else, like Trent or Malcolm, do you want to add anything to this?
As far as Necrodominance goes, not really. I played my own soup build. I called Lobster Bisque because, I'm sorry guys, whoever needs to hear it, Lobster Bisque is better than Clam Chowder. I'm talking about a pure food stasis. But I did try the double Necro package, and maybe it was just my meta, but like it never worked out enough to where I enjoyed it enough. Where like, yeah, I had the flash, but maybe I didn't have either of the Necros, or maybe I had both the Necros, and I would pay 38 life because it's like just enough is what I could do, but I could like sometimes not find Born or Valley, or have enough mana to do either. I'm not saying it's bad by any measure, because obviously, it's come on, look at this card. The card's nuts.
Yeah.
But I've had times where it didn't do the thing for me, and it's what led me to like when I had my Lobster Bisque build, back out of the like Necro stuff and then more into just like the typical 5-color good stuff, like Thorical Breach, and then maybe like one Sisay line just to have something.
Yeah, that's certainly a choice some people make. So Chowder really has like 3 sub variants. There's the ones that are on double Necro, which I play. There's ones that get rid of them for something like Warren Soul Trade or Chatterfang.
Yep.
Then there's the heaviest ones run a Derevi Cradle and a Meal to try and combo that way, and that's usually comes down to preference. I just like playing turbo stuff. always have, and so I'm necromaxing when I'm playing, no matter what. And so
Necromaxing.
Necromax 10 out of 10. That's
and
awesome.
my play patterns reflect that. I am not. No one cheats the Hangsman on my watch. I'm playing Necropodes, so.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I
You know what
ag-
they say, kids. Good.
I
I
agree on both.
have little to add on Necrodominance, to be honest.
Yeah.
If I was going to play it personally, for me, it would probably be more of a I just want to draw cards and play the mid game sort of include.
Sure, like have
Um,
like a legendary permanent that no one's gonna remove. Plus, it just fills your hand a little bit. I
Yeah,
don't hate
like yes,
that.
it
I don't
reduces
hate
my
that.
maximum hand size, but typically I have like one card in my hand. Anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, we're usually
So-
trying to play everything out.
Yeah, you go hellbent quite fast with the Sisay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Turtle.
So the next card we were looking at was Orcish Bowmasters. I had it as page 313 in the PDF.
Yep.
There he is. He's beautiful.
And so
This
was
is
a little bit
a-
interesting.
This
Go
is a
ahead.
heavily played card in general.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
absolutely.
One of the best cards in CEDH, hands down.
Absolutely. So
Hey,
this card. Oh yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
No, I was just going to say I agree. It's one of the top cards in the cEDH form. It has a very high play rate inside the Sisay builds of 65.4%. So most Sisay builds contain this card. Or
Yeah.
most.
I think the only reason some people don't play it is I think Malcolm said this earlier off camera was like the cloning effects of it, because you don't want to be the first OBM, if that makes sense, right? You always want to be the last OBM. But I'm in the proponent that like I enjoy having two bodies for 2 mana. You know, we're still a cradle deck, we're a cauldron deck, so 1/1 counters aren't nothing. And like not like on the deepest rate of what it could be, having a Selvala that has like a giant bowmaster token right next to it is just gorgeous, right? But I'll take that token to dinner, man. It's earned it's earned it.
That's
Yeah,
definitely a good point.
Yeah.
I like the card. I'm also on Wheel of Fortune, which has the obvious
Oh, are you?
offshoot.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm on the which has the obvious.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Offshoot
Okay,
of it
sure.
kills the table. So there, I'm actually not on Fairy Mastermind right now, but this is a relevant feature. A lot of us run Fairy Mastermind because it does go infinite with OBM. And what you end up doing is you use an Agatha Soul Cauldron to eat Tinderwall, and then at some point in the game, and then if you have Fairy Mastermind and OBM in play, you just win the game on the spot. Because what ends up happening is if you activate the Fairy Mastermind, there will be 3 draw triggers. Each draw trigger will amass 1. Then after each amass trigger, you sacrifice that army for 2 red, and the Agatha Soul Cauldron will then filter that 6 red into a blue and 3 colorless to activate the Fairy Mastermind again. So you just kill the table with that. And so that is a play pattern that we take occasionally. I am off of the Fairy Mastermind right now because I wanted to test something else. But that is a relevant detail that Agatha Soul Cauldron allows, which is that Tinderwall, Fairy Mastermind, OBM, and ASC.
That's interesting.
I mean, I love that combo. When I was doing the Lobster Bisque stuff, I actually won my top 4 game with that accidentally because I've never done that before. You know, I played Fairy Mastermind, it's a good card. I play OBM, it's a good card. I play Tinderwall, it's a good. Like I play all of these cards because they're just good, and I'm sitting there about to pass my turn, and I'm sitting at the table, and I'm like, oh.
Oh, I had a
wow, Smothering Tide. That's a wow. And I Kinnan. All right, everyone die, and everyone's like, oh.
Right, yeah. So and you know the Fairy Mastermind OBM Tinderwall one, so I guess there's something I kind of refer to as the Sisay effect, which is when you're playing against a trad Sisay player, there will be like 14 cards in play, and you don't know what any of them do, and you don't know where to put your swords to plowshares, and then you're just dead because you couldn't convince someone to use their swords. And this is like the Sisay effect, which is like a bunch of cards people don't know, aren't familiar with, and they are going to go infinite, but you just haven't realized it yet. This is sort of the opposite of that, where everyone knows a Fairy Mastermind, and they know an Orcish Bowmasters, and they know a Tinderwall. They don't really know Agatha Soul Cauldron. Every time you read that card, it gets better. But
they're just making the meme face like.
But these 3 cards are so common that they can sort of sit in play, and people will not go, oh, I'm actually dead on board to these 3 cards that I've seen a million times.
Yeah.
So they're quite funny in that regard. Yeah, that's a big appeal of this card. just whenever you're running an Agatha Soul Cauldron, it's reasonably common that someone's going to put a creature with an activated ability into the graveyard that's going to accidentally go infinite with what you have. It's going to be even more common for Trent and Malcolm because they have like Malcolm has a Tyvar in his deck right now, which allows for some seriously broken stuff. I assume that they're on Emil, so people will randomly put activated abilities for their own creature decks in the graveyard, and then Agatha Soul Cauldron will inadvertently produce infinite mana for you, like fairly randomly.
Yeah. The amount of Trogers that I've eaten because I have an Atali player in like my personal meta. It's like, thank you for playing Atali, because I will force a will that, and then I will eat that.
Yeah, I've hidden a Troger, I've hidden Razakats, but
my god,
even less like fantastically than that. Like people will just put like Bloom Tenders in the graveyard or something. Or I was playing a game where I had a Valley Floodcaller in play, and I was playing against a Trad Sisay player who ended up discarding their Gigantha. I won that game very handily because every spell I cast was Omniscience now. So,
good god.
One more thing. I think we need to just short explain the Agatha Soul Cauldron, Fairy Mastermind, Orcish Bowmaster. So
I can do that.
For those that, go ahead. It's a cool, it's a cool trick, but it's something you don't see when you're just listening to this video.
Absolutely, yeah. So if we talk this, so it requires a Tinder Wall. We can sort of imagine that a Tinder Wall has been sacrificed at some point in the game, and it's in anyone's graveyard. If you have an Orcish Bowmasters and a Fairy Mastermind in play, you can use Agatha Soul Cauldron to eat the Tinder Wall and put a +1/+1 counter on any creature. It doesn't matter. What Agatha Soul Cauldron says is if a creature has a +1/+1 counter on it, it has all of the activated abilities of creatures that you've eaten with Agatha Soul Cauldron, namely the Tinder Wall. So why is this relevant? It means that all of your Orc army tokens now have sacrificed this to make double red. Agatha Soul Cauldron also says that activated abilities or mana spent to activate activated abilities can be spent as though it was mana of any color. So if you think about a Fairy Mastermind activation, there will be 3 opponents drawing, and therefore 3 draw triggers for the Orcish Bowmasters, which means 3 amass triggers. Those each happen one at a time. So you'll amass one, you'll sacrifice it for double red. You'll do that again, you'll sacrifice it for another double red. So you have 4 red, and you do it one more time, and you're up to 6 red. And now you can spend 4 of that red mana to activate the Fairy Mastermind, because the Agatha Soul Cauldron is filtering that red mana into blue mana for the activated ability. And this loops because you're now essentially making 6 red mana that is also blue mana for the purpose of activated abilities every time you pay 4 blue mana. And that gives you, I mean, it won't give you infinite mana because your opponents will die, but they will die before you are not solvent. So it will ping the table to death. And because you're also netting mana each time, you very quickly get to a point where you have enough banked mana that if anyone responds, you do it again on top. Which makes it very hard to
I was just about to add that, but you caught it perfectly.
Yeah, so this combo is, and these cards, like Orcish Bowmasters, Fairy Mastermind, and Tinderwall are all very strong cards in their own right. Agatha Soul Cauldron is extremely strong. I usually like to say that any time Agatha Soul Cauldron isn't performing is a failure of imagination, because like that card, if you are just paying enough attention to your game, it will perform. It'll eat a Ranger Captain. It will eat some other thing with an activated ability. It'll save you from OBMs. The card is incredibly strong in this list. But
to add a little bit to that, it is a heavily card outside Sisay too. It's been
really?
Yeah. This surprised me, but Blue Farm players have actually played Agatha Soul Cauldron as well.
That's very cool.
They'll play anything, I guess. Good God.
Yeah, those people.
Yeah.
They're animals.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this combo is sort of part of, it really distills the sort of chowder ideology, which is Fairy Mastermind, Orcish Bowmasters, and Tinderwall are all incredibly strong cards in their own right. And then they also combo kill you. And so we want to include combos in our deck that require no sacrifices in card quality. And this is like prime example of a combo that you can just put in your deck that requires no sacrifices.
It should be kind of pointed out that this isn't like the main strategy for your deck. It's just something that exists in there and you accidentally get to it, kind of. Sure, you can tutor for Agata, but...
Yeah, it's just good incidental value.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's also a testament to the Agatha's Soul Cauldron. This is a very hard card to conceptualize because you, like, on paper, it's not as obviously strong as, like, a demonic tutor. But when you're in a game, I usually like to challenge people, like, imagine you're playing a game, whenever you're playing a game, stop for a moment and then think, if I had an Agatha's Soul Cauldron in play, what would it do for me? And it's often a lot. It would say, oh, actually, it would have made me 2 additional mana dorks, and I would have survived that Orcish bowmasters, and I'd be able to activate this Kenrith ability or something. So I think that's usually how it's hard to conceptualize, but this card's also very strong.
One thing to last add to this is that it has a play rate for all the Sisay builds around 95%.
That makes sense. I mean,
it's an auto-include.
I could not think of a Sisay build that would not want to play it. If even Chowder, who plays the most non-Sisay cards, is not playing this, or like is playing this, like that just speaks to like the testament of the card's nuts. Yeah. There's no reason not to play this unless you're playing casual Sisay.
I'm just a man of trepidation. I don't like when people have the ability to copy things that I put on the board and put me in the trash because of it. I think honestly, this particular combo setup definitely is intriguing to me for sure. I do run Tinderwall, and I do have 2 open slots where I could put a Fairy Mastermind and an Orcish Bowmaster if I really wanted to test this out, which is actually kind of amazing right now. And it would give me another combo out that is kind of Sisay agnostic in a way, which is nice.
It's just a good setup of cards that will do more for you by themselves and will, when it comes together, win you the game.
Yep.
No reason not to.
What was your next card on your list, Turtle?
The next one was Ranger Captain of Eos. Now this one, listeners may be surprised. This card's an obvious card. Everyone runs Ranger Captain.
What page did it have?
But I have 339 for Ranger Captain.
Sorry, there we go.
No worries.
Yeah, this is a really good card in general. The win rate is on plus 0.09. Play rate is around 20%. But it's been played heavily with the Sisay cards in general. And it's seen a lot of action, so to say. So it seems to be doing good.
Absolutely.
In tournaments.
I love Ranger Captain immensely.
Yeah, I find this card to be very good. There's sort of a couple of reasons why I'm so attached to this card in Chowder specifically. So for one, I'm running Agatha's Soul Cauldron, and Ranger Captain plus Agatha's Soul Cauldron does essentially win you the game on the spot, because now anytime you have a creature that plus +1 counter, it's also a Ranger Captain. And so in those really long, like super long drawish games, a play pattern that I'll regularly take is putting +1/+1 counters on a bunch of my bodies and then eating a Ranger Captain, and that either forces the other players to act, or I'll have 5 Ranger Captains, and it's very hard to beat 5. Because I could, before I even have to cast a spell, I'll go crack a Ranger Captain. Someone will respond, I'll go crack Ranger Captain. They'll respond, I'll go crack Ranger Captain. And I can just keep doing that. I had a funny tournament game not that long ago where I had 4 Ranger Captains in play, and which means I could only beat 3, but the other players all started cloning each other's Ranger Captains, and they had 4 Ranger Captains to stop me because they had an idea of what I was doing. I should say that in Boston, Chowder is the main way to play Sisay. We don't have a lot of trad Sisay players, so everyone's sort of wise into my tricks here. In the broader tournament scene, this is not the case. It is a very unpopular way to play the deck, so you can sort of behave more slyly. But in Boston, people are prepared when I have an Agatha's Soul Cauldron in play. So 4 Ranger Captains will pop up out of nowhere. But just having the offset chance that I can like lock down the game, or if I need to force a draw, I can put if I eat it with an OBM, just every time someone draws a card, I have a Ranger Captain, is really strong. So it's very good there. The other thing is we only run one mana legend, and it's Ragavan. So sometimes you need to just like bump start your Sisay so that you can start spinning, and so it grabs that. And also, unlike Blue Farm, I get to run Tinderwall, so this thing also essentially grabs a Rite of Flame, which is very useful because like a reasonable play pattern is you get Ranger Captain for Tinderwall, play the Tinderwall, crack it, cast Final Fortune, and then you're going to Final Fortune with the Ranger Captain in play. It's sort of which you can do with fairly leanly. So I endlessly appreciate this card. I find that with the Tinderwall and the Ragavan, it has a little bit of extra value in this list, and with Act of the Soul Cauldron, you can do some seriously broken things with it. So
I'm really surprised that you're not playing Mockingbird. I feel like most cEDH players would agree that Ranger Captain and Mockingbird are just a married pair.
Yeah, it comes down to slots. I put Mockingbird in and swap it out fairly often.
Fair.
I probably should be on it, but my slots are very tight right now.
Yeah, that's right. And it's like also you have to depend, like not for nothing, it's a clone, right? So regardless of your own stuff, you have to depend on your opponent to have something good enough.
Right.
But I've had games where like, again, I don't want to harp on Mockingbird too much, where it's like I'll play a Thoracle, maybe I get stifled, or like someone else's a Thoracle, they get stifled, and now, oh, okay, I'll go grab my Mockingbird, I'll copy their Thoracle, and now I win because, you know, that just got to sit there on the field for a little bit.
Yeah,
Honestly,
it certainly has
a little niche, but like, you know, it's happened before, right?
Honestly, the floor of Mockingbird is really low, or really good, I mean. Like, low
Yeah,
floor is pretty
absolutely.
common, Kinnan is common, Ragavan.
I was going to say, the amount of Kinnans I've copied alone is just fantastic. Yeah. It's a great card.
Yeah, it's constantly on my consideration board, so maybe it's chill earn a slot.
I actually have a card I want to highlight with the Ranger Captain of Eos. The original OG, Agatha-Soul's Cauldron. Do you guys know what that is? No, I don't think you do. No. I think it's only me who plays this.
Necrodominance. I'm assuming it's Necrodominance.
No, get it off the screen. Get it out of here.
Okay.
No.
I actually have a lot to say about this card.
Malcolm, teach them.
Oh my God! As the person who I think I feel like I discovered this card like way back when before Dockside got banned. I had a lot of interest in this card, and it wasn't as good then as it is now. I think. I think Leafcaller has this really shitty dichotomy where if you are set up for Leafcaller to be good, Leafcaller is god tier. And if you are not set up for Leafcaller to be good yet, or like you're in the early game, Leafcaller is like the worst card to possibly have in your hand. Like if you don't already have your Cradle and you're looking at your Orochi Leafcaller, you're like, you don't actually do anything. Yes, I can just fetch out green lands for the rest of the game, but like
I have a
I'm about to dig out a copy of Orochi and rip it in half. I swear, I'll do it. I'll do it. I hate this card so much.
Oh my God. In my most recent build, it was something that I thought about because my build is like overall kind of a big green build.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say you're on big green right now. That makes sense. I think for you it makes sense. Like you're doing a weird build with it.
Even with big green, it's not good. Every time I see it in my opening hand, like when I'm goldfishing or when I'm in a game, it's like
the exotic orchard of cards. It's like
it's worse.
Oh my God,
it's
worse.
Card. Like you're just a dead card. If I play you, you don't do anything. You don't promote a board state. You don't add anything for me. You don't tap for mana. You don't do anything. No. And therefore, you are kind of useless to me until I either find my Cradle, find my Bridget, or like
we're already in like a winning position.
If I found those things and I'm already set up, I can go find Soul Cauldron probably and win the game.
Exactly.
So like, I can't tutor for you either. Like I can't do anything with you. So like it's my Snake Boy. He's a cool guy, but like.
Again, I am happy to pull it out of the bulk behind me and rip it up. I will do it.
So I actually play this a lot, but I play a big creature deck, and I actually disagree with you, Malcolm, because I think finding Cradle and just having a bunch of random creatures is actually kind of easy to achieve. So the situation where this is a dead card, sure, but that doesn't last long. And once you just activate Sisay once with this, you win.
I guess that enables the problem is that it's like it's good in the late. I will give you that. Like past turn 3, Orochi definitely gets better, but a lot of CDH games lately, I'm lucky if I see turn 3.
That
right?
is true.
So, and that's really what it comes down to is like, what does this do again in the face of like a Rogsai who's already wheeling and dealing, and it's like, I got my orochi. Like, I do admit it is generally a decent card alongside Cradle and a Shaya and builds that can support it, but
even in a build that's someone
I'm
representing
looking
a
at the
build that
card
supports
very intently. I hate you.
I do think it has value, Mons. Absolutely.
100%.
It's just my qualm with it right now is that we need to be, at least in the tournament scene, we need to be hard progressing in such a way that we can close out the game on T3 or on someone's upkeep on T3.
Yeah.
Like, if I pass the turn on my T3, I should be able to try to kill you in your upkeep. And if I can't do that, or like I can't make sure that the game keeps going beyond that point, I've probably wasted mana on Orochi Leafcaller in those very tight scenarios.
Yep.
I agree with you. I just think that it's a cool synergy with the Ranger Captain.
Oh,
if you're sitting in
100%.
this grand
100%.
abolition situation.
Yeah. Now,
And for
Turtle.
me, I'm not on Ranger Captain mainly as a question of slots. I probably have the most one
sure.
drops in this group of decks.
So curious.
I have.
That's actually a very good question. I imagine you mean
1,
creatures,
2,
of
3,
course.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 one-drop creatures.
You got me.
Wow.
I'm at 8. I should be on Tinderwall. I actually forgot to put Tinderwall back in after my big version swap, but
Gotcha.
yeah,
Mine is a very creature-heavy deck, very similar to you actually, Mons. I'm not on as many creatures as you are. I'm on 38 right now.
I'm on more.
Yeah, I think.
But
I
I'm
think we're
trying
probably
to
closer
lean
45.
heavily into that. If I get a Cradle, I just win, kind of.
I'm on 30, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm on a ridiculous number of creatures, and I am on only one sorcery, and that's Nature's Rhythm right now.
You guys
Fair
are
enough.
creatures? I have like 12.
I'm not even
All play
on,
creatures.
I'm not even on sorcery. I'm not even on Demonic Tutor right now.
I read
haven't been on
Culling
Demonic
Ritual.
Tutor in
I don't have
6
time
months.
for that.
That's
to
what I was
give
gonna ask. So
the-
that was definitely that definitely leads us into your next card, Mr. Turtle. I want to know why the flying hell you're playing Calling Ritual. What is going on?
Culling Ritual. It is a page 115, I believe.
He's so good.
114. Okay.
There we go.
This
What-
card.
Wait.
I
Can
love-
you just
oh, yeah.
introduce? Can you just introduce this? It has a
go ahead.
play rate of 4.3% in Sisay tournaments.
It's
So-
probably all me. It's probably
It's
just
probably
me.
all you.
Ugh.
Yeah, and I'm
All
not
right,
cutting
Orochi
it.
Leafcaller, come back. I like
I'm
you
not,
a little more.
I'm not cutting it. Yeah, but
Orochi
put your
Leafcaller
Orochi-
dies to this.
put your- yeah, it does.
That's the thing. Is like this kills your Orochi. You're not playing Orochi. This kills your cauldron. This kills your food tokens for cabbage. Well, I guess you're just netting mana in that way anyway. It kills
'cause
your
you can tap it
Kinnan.
first.
Wait.
Yeah.
Trent-
Talk to me here. Talk to me here.
Trent, I'm gonna explain it all to you. You cast this, you get all green mana, and then you Orcish Leafcaller.
Done. Oh,
So I will
Absolute
say that I
cinema.
thought about running that combo just in my mind, like, because you can do that and then just hard cast your Soul Cauldron or hard cast your Leafcaller and just filter out and win the game.
I have done that with Agatha Soul Cauldron. I have.
That is
sure.
good.
hold it back until you cast it and then play it from hand. Yeah,
Yeah,
it makes
I
sense.
mean,
It makes
the-
sense.
The thing is, like, I'm playing Necro and Nauses, and I'm trying to combo kill, and I'm gonna be honest.
Sometimes you just
I-
don't need your board anymore.
Look, I had a mano conversation with all of the mana dorks in my deck, and they all said that they were willing to sacrifice themselves so that my Nauses.
Anything for you, Captain.
That's right.
Anything.
they were all very happy with it. They said that
We
was
will
a
die
worthy
for your sins,
sacrifice.
Captain.
Yeah, I actually
Bowmaster
have,
token was like, yes, Captain.
I actually have a very funny story. about
Beseech
this
my
card.
mirror.
I was playing against this card with a trad player, like at a tournament in Boston. I don't know how he wasn't familiar with the concept of chowder because that's all that's played here. But I think he was relatively new to the area. And I put this card on the stack, and he goes, "That's an awful card in Sisay." And I went, "Is it?" And he goes, "Yes, it is." And I went, "Why?" And he goes, "Because you're gonna blow up your board." And I go, I guess you're right. And then I blew up my board, made 14 men. He goes, "What are you gonna do? Cast Nas?" And I said, "That is exactly what I'm gonna do."
What are you gonna do, Nas?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I played it. And so I understand that it does blow up your board, but you can rest assured that a mnemonic betrayal or a Nas are quick to follow.
Oh, especially mnemonic betrayal. I
Yeah,
forgot about
I'm
that.
casting-
Yeah,
if
no,
this
that makes
card
sense.
Resolves, you can pack it up.
Or was your entire board there to be blown up to begin with?
That's right. That's right. So this card, I love it. I'll blow up my board 100. Frankly, I make my board as big as possible because then my Nas will be even better.
The payoff is just going to be better for you. Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
run
Makes
mana
sense.
morphos to filter the mana afterwards. It rules. I love this card.
That's so funny. I didn't even think about the mnemonic betrayal.
The fact that it makes green and black in order to
Oh, yeah.
like
If you need a
actually
spin
create a
somehow,
spin,
or-
yeah, that's actually kind of crazy.
Maybe
That's
a red,
really cool.
a red
That's
and
really
a blue
cool.
mana for my Breach Brave Freeze. Maybe double blue. for my board.
Who's to say?
Yeah, you know. But yeah, I think that's a very interesting, especially now in a kind of a meta where people are creating a lot of like tokens and building a lot of these board states with these ROG Ishai decks and things like that. Being able to kind of blow up the board in one go is something that has really appealed to me. And it's funny because a lot of my permanents are greater than 2 mana. So like things that I want to have on the board are still gonna survive this. And still leave me in a position where I'm like, yeah, I'm still gonna kill you. Like I killed half my board and I'm gonna destroy you with all this green mana.
Yeah, I mean, Teferi lives. Like, that's really...
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Fair.
Teferi
Teferi lives, Sisay lives, Gwenna lives. Like the things that I really want to be on the board that I care about are gonna survive this. The Revi's gonna survive this. Like
I
Deadpool's
think
gonna
I
survive
think that's
this.
something that like Sisay has always struggled with over the years is having an actual board wipe. And like minus Clam, I'm taking Clam Chowder out of this equation because like you guys you typically just want to play 5-color good stuff, but like and like Culling Ritual is that it is one of the best cards in cEDH. But like Sisay as a whole has always struggled to have like a proper board wipe that doesn't also hose us. Like Culling Ritual, that blows up half of. I'm looking at Malcolm's creatures right now. Blows up half his creatures, let alone the permanents that we have to have. And yes,
what's funny?
They can be sacked for the greater good. Don't get me wrong.
Wait. Hold on, Trent. Pause.
Oh no.
I'm gonna throw a curveball at you right now.
I'm feeling curved.
There's one card in my list right now that has been a staple of my list that actually protects me from this.
Don't tell me. Give me a hot second. No, okay. I thought it was
Boromir?
No.
Do you play Boromir? That'd be fucking
No.
crazy.
I'll play Lavinia.
I have no idea.
Guess what really key word Culling Ritual says? What's the third word that Culling Ritual says?
Oh, you play Sharn?
No, I play
He
a
plays a
Shia.
Shia.
Oh.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I can theoretically, if I have a large enough tutor in response to a Culling Writ, I can tutor for my own Ashaya and
Non-land.
protect all of my creatures from Culling Ritual.
I'm upset I don't hate that.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
upset I don't
gross
hate that.
actually.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
I don't think that's a good enough reason for me.
No,
to
no,
include
no
it
measure,
personally,
but
I think
that's still
hilarious.
cool. That's still very cool.
At a tournament in Florida recently, I actually to protect myself from a Culling Ritual in this way. I made infinite mana not infinite mana in response, but like I was able to pull out my Ashaya from the deck by spinning my Kinnan and protect myself from a Culling Ritual is going to blow me out.
One
I
thing
wasn't able to win because Emil was in my hand and it wasn't my turn, but hey.
one thing
shit, man, when it
I
hits, it
wanna add here is that if we actually look at the win rate and power rank on Culling Ritual, it's kind of weak in general. The meta pool is kind of high, so it's been play tested with a lot of Sisay cards, so to say. But
Makes sense.
if you make a cluster of Culling Ritual, Necropotence, Adnas, Born Upon a Wind, Final Fortune, Underworld Breach, basically not Grixis plus green, as Culling Ritual is green, you get a fairly good performance of those six
good power
cards. Sorry.
Yeah, wow.
That's pretty good.
What's
Yeah.
what's like the upper limit right now for like power ranking?
The upper limit is around 6.3 and 4.
Oh wow.
So if you hit like
If you hit around 5,
Anything
that's
over like a
pretty good.
5, like anything over like a 5.9 or a 5.8 is like
anything
amazing.
5.8
It's
is
decent, yeah.
good, so to say.
Hell yeah.
Interesting.
Hell yeah.
I can actually explain a little bit about that. A big problem
Please.
we have is that all cEDH decks that run into top 16, because of the commander games we basically collect for this data, are fairly very even. So the spread in power rank is extremely small. Like there are a few Lumra, Yuriko, Vinota, and some other more casual commanders that sometimes squeeze into the top, and they kind of perform bad, but that's kind of it. So the difference between cards is extremely small.
Yeah, Sisay has also been, because like as we've discussed, one of the themes of this discussion has been how many different cards you run. It's always been a victim of this data because like in 2024, for example, when I was really grinding tournaments, there's really only like 5 people who were playing a dedicated chowder deck, and all of us had like top 16 large events. 3 of us were at the invitational, but it's really like 5 pilots. And so our by data, because the sample was so small and it was only like barely competent tournament grinders, it looked really good. But if you looked at, I remember like seeing data Mons had posted like a couple years ago, and it was like putting Breach in your Sisay deck made your deck much worse. And it was like, if you took a trad Sisay deck and just put in Breach, Brain Freeze, LED, it's going to be non-synergistic. And there aren't enough people who are playing a dedicated list, or weren't enough people playing a dedicated list at the time to reflect that. And so a lot of the power ranking for individual cards, as we just saw with the Culling Ritual, will look weird. Because if you put it in, if you were to put Culling Ritual in Malcolm's deck, it would underperform fantastically. He wouldn't outlet it as dedicated as I do. Yeah. It would blow up his board for essentially no return. So Sisay has this problem where some of the cards that I'm running, or like all the cards that I'm running, are sort of predicated on running them all together, which is why it looks like a Kenrith deck. But if you just put like Adnaz into Trent's deck or Culling Ritual into Malcolm's deck, it'll look like a bad card. And there are people who have like, attempted that or said, Adnaz is a broken card, I'm just going to put it in. How bad can it be? Well, it can be pretty bad if your deck doesn't.
If you don't lean into it, if you have a shit ton of 3s to 5 drops, you're fucked.
Yeah, and you don't have any rituals. So
I would love to see Adnaz resolve in this deck.
Yeah, that's an Adnazable list right there, baby.
Oxfield might actually have the average mana value at the bottom of the screen. Does it say what the
true. Let's see.
I don't think if you don't have
it's right there, right there.
For instance, mine
it's about 1.98.
Mine is 1.99.
Oh, 1.4. The average mana value is 1.42 with lands,
here we go.
1.99 without lands. Yeah, that's very high. If you're hitting a card, the average non-land card you hit is 2 life.
That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt real fast.
The interesting thing is we're not that far apart. Yours is
this is the Adnaz list.
Wise.
Yeah, like your average mana value is 1.33 and 1.81 without lands, and mine is 1.42 and 1.99 without lands. Is that like a really big
huge
difference?
No, that 10 is kind of huge.
It does add up, but a lot of my zero, like I have a lot more of.
It's 18. It's not even 10.
Make up for it.
So like the cards convert into more mana typically for you than they would for me. My cards are just permanents that I would want to put on the battlefield.
One comment to here. I see in this list a Colossal Sky Turtle of 7 mana. So if if you add Nas in this build, and
he's also playing it. Okay.
And you're on 6, you can't continue. But if you add Nas in this build, I think the highest here is 4. So if you're at 6, you can keep digging.
It's a Force of Will. It's 5.
Force of Will is 5.
It's literally just Force. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 2. I think I would never run Nas for mainly the reason that my top end is so fat.
It's just chunky,
Yeah, I have 6 4-drops. No, 3, 4. I have 4 4-drops and a Shia as a 5-drop, plus Force of Will, plus Sneak Attack and Smothering Tithe as 4-drops. Yeah, 7 4-drops in total.
Yeah.
So like it's madness to try to do that. And the number of 3-drops is also just insane.
I want to highlight what you said there, Turtle, that depending on how your build is put together, certain card becomes unplayable and certain cards kind of explode a bit. That's a key thing. What was the next card on the list we want to talk about? We talked a lot about Culling Ritual there.
The last thing for me was simply, so my land count is, I'm on 26 lands, one of which is a Beseiju. I would say I have found this to be broadly the correct number of lands. I've tried going leaner, and it can get a little bit hectic. I think I'm off Savannah right now.
Oh, you're not even on Exotic Orchard.
Yeah, I'm not on Exotic Orchard, and we're down to chatter lists are down to 9 to 8 dual lands. Usually they choose between like Volk or Savannah they're gonna cut. But
Nobuwara is an interesting choice too.
Yeah, just
Otawara has been coming out for a lot of people, I think. Like, I cut Otawara myself for no other reason that if I see it as a land, it makes opening hands so annoying. It really does. Beseju's not so bad. Beseju's not so
Noble
bad.
Hierarch. Like,
Exactly. It casts your dorks. It's acceptable.
yeah, so it casts Carpet or Noble Hierarch, whereas Otawara doesn't. So it's just like the lists that are not on double Necros may occasionally run it. But for me, it's just not fast enough, and it is kind of a burden in the mulligan. Yeah, that's my.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
Being on Grand makes me feel a little better about Otawara. I like having the extra option.
Sure.
I treat it as a spell kind of rather than a land.
Of course, that's what you should. Yeah. So like
especially
when you say
because I'm more heavy
lands, you're like really at 26 with 2 spells.
Exactly, because more often than not, I have enough legends to make Otawara cost 1 just because my legend base is wider than say like Turtles would be. So I can see why Turtle would kind of eschew Otawara here because he doesn't typically have the number of like the density of legends and number of legends where Otawara is cheaper than maybe like 3 mana or 4. 2, sorry. So it becomes a 2 mana piece of interaction rather than a 1 mana piece of interaction.
I like it. No, I like it. Listen, it's a good card. I don't think anyone's ever going to say it's not. It's just, in a 5-color deck, you got to be a little tighter about all the choices you make. When you have access to everything, what actually makes the cut?
Exactly.
Right? Like when you can play everything, is Manamorphose good? The answer is no.
No.
I just wanted some turtle aggro.
Okay, and beyond that,
that's pretty good.
We have a lot to say.
No, as far as Clam goes, I think that's pretty reasonable. Clams, you started making your name for yourself in 2024, like we were talking, and now you have a whole server for it. People are playing Clam all the time. They're understanding that it's more so than just being a Sisay deck. It's just being a better 5-color deck. Like you can play Kenrith, but Kenrith can't sneak Teferi into play.
That's right.
And that's genuinely what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's hard to emphasize the importance of that, but part of what makes it's just the best deck is that putting Teferi into play is completely broken. I usually we compare this deck to Blue Farm a lot, and one of the big sort of comparisons that I make is access to Tymna and Crom will draw you some amount of cards in a game.
Right.
How many cards would they reasonably have to draw for it to make up for the fact that I'm putting an uncounterable silence onto the battlefield? It's probably more cards than you would think. Like, if putting 1 Teferi into play is probably about as comparable as drawing like 11 cards or something. Right? Because drawing 3 cards off of your Tymna, but I put a Teferi into play, the Teferi is better than the average 3 cards that Tymna drew you.
Oh, sure. That makes sense.
So,
I think that makes sense.
The mana that you spent on playing Tymna and Crom, I have cast the Sisay and put a Teferi into play, and that is a better rate than what they're going to draw unless they draw a ton of cards just from the commanders alone. So, not to mention, I have Outlitting of Smothering Tides and other things, and access to green cards like Manamorphose and Elvish Spirit Guide, which are incredibly strong when you're doing Nas Necro stuff. So
free mana, good mana.
The overarching moral of this video is that just putting a Teferi into play is completely broken. If you're sick of being in Ristic slogfests, just putting a Teferi into play and then casting it ad nauseum, it just shuts them up. There's not a lot of stuff that interacts with it. It just beats them. So
to build on that, I think I know what you're going to say, but I think this is a very good topic. You are playing Adnos. I mean, you have a pretty good concept here. And Sisay finding Teferi, clear. Why don't you play Boseiju, who shelters all in that case? Legendary land that can make your Adnos unacountable. He does. Wait.
The other Boseiju, not the green Boseiju
one. No, I don't run this one. So the reason, there's sort of a couple reasons. My deck is hedging very aggressively towards early game mulliganing. I mulligan incredibly aggressively. I want to be casting Necrodominance on 2. And so in that respect, this card's just not.
Taps, colorless, hurts your life.
Yeah, the other cards that we occasionally run are Spider-Punk or Lavinia. Spider-Punk being spells cannot be countered, and then similarly, Lavinia is if a player would cast a spell, or if an opponent would cast a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter it. I'm not on either of those right now. Those are like slots I change around, but if you wanted a slightly more aggressive one that doesn't cost 3, those I have found to be better, whereas this card will be sort of tricky in the mulligans. You can also run like Orm's Chant instead, and that card acts as interaction more effectively. So I would aim towards like that slot being a little bit more utility than Besiju. But we have considered it, and it is a very cool card. I know that the 5-color deck that got banned ran it a lot. Golos ran this card a lot, yes. So.
Yeah, this is what made Golos cEDH.
Yeah.
It was his cool trick. Get Golos into play, get Besiju, cast Peer or Adnos and win. Making your stuff uncounterable is pretty good in general, but I totally agree. I wouldn't play this one either.
Yeah, it is a very interesting one. Yeah, the other thing is Teferi is not my plan A. My plan A is Necro or Naz on 1 or 2, just like trying to win as fast as possible, or to stick a very strong value engine like Tithe, Ristic, Cabbageman. The Teferi's presence is essentially like a catch-all. If I haven't been able to turbo off because people were leaving up mana, ramping towards a spin towards a Teferi is sort of my late-game insurance. His other benefit is that his wording is not that of a regular silence. It is opponents can only cast cards when they could cast a sorcery. So for things like forcing draws, it can be a little bit cheeky to give someone else a Teferi.
Talking about draws.
No one can interact. But the other one is if you're in big tutor like Flash Wars, if you can just hold up a bunch of Sisay activations, even on someone else's turn, he still acts as a silence essentially.
Yep.
So he can be good for breaking through Valley Flood Callers if you just save up a bunch of Sisay activations and go respond, put Teferi into play, respond, put Teferi into play, and then no one else can interact even with their Valley Flood Callers.
Yep, definitely have found that as an option.
We should move to the next card.
No, I think that's it.
Really?
I'm happy to start yapping about mine though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess there's no particular order for this, but I would love to talk about my old and gold Cultist of the Absolute. I've been playing Cultist of the Absolute for a long time. I think we might have discussed it earlier with like Diada and Ori. It's always acceptable in an Oath build.
What page is it on?
Oh, yes. We have 116 if I'm not correct.
Yes, you are correct.
Perfect. Yeah, all right. But yeah, so this is like my old and gold, like, especially coming from when I was more jamming on the Oath build, where there's no reason not to play this in the Oath build, because if you can spin for Diada fast enough, if you can scrab, any of your pieces fast enough, the card's just great. But I have just lately, even without the Planeswalker combos, even without Ori, I have been enjoying this card as just the cheapest way to get Sisay to the biggest she needs to be typically, right? Because she buffs Sisay for 4, and that puts her up to power of 6. And if you look at my list, the highest TMC legend I have is 4, right? So it grabs Emil, it grabs Deadpool, it grabs Urtai. It is just an excellent piece where, yes, if deployed incorrectly at the wrong time, it could absolutely start breaking your own back. But when you're in, and this is why I continue to keep it in, because this has happened too many times. Very specifically, last year I was in, might have been earlier this year, I was at the, the lasagna battle, whatever,
Big Z.
gold. Thank you, Christ. Italian noodles. The big ZD event that Gold Saber hosts every year. And in my winning into top 16, I had a game where I had a Smothering Tithe, a ridiculous amount of treasures, and Ragavan was dead, right? So I was like, oh god, Ragavan was about to be killed. And I was like, okay, well, if Ragavan dies, what 1 CMC legend do I get? Because there was no other legends that I can jump to. And I'm thinking about my list, and I was like, I'm not playing Cultist. I'm not playing Grand Granite. Well, I don't think Grand Granite was out at the time. I wasn't playing Skrelv. I had no way to jump up the chain without getting blasted back down to ground zero. And if Sisay's only at power 2 and I can't buff that up, that's awful, right? That's why a lot of people will play at least another Grand, like one Ragavan, a Skrelv, something that if something pops, it does. But that's why I'd rather have Cultist. It's a little more permanent, right? Maybe a little easier to counter. If people mental misstep it, they're probably smart too. But as far as grabbing it out of Sisay when you have an absolute a ridiculous amount of Smothering Tithe treasures, it's just saved my ass too many times. It's the old and gold. I love it. Again, you just have to be very careful when you're deploying it. That's I could yap all day about this card. I get a lot of hate for it actually, from Mr. Malcolm especially.
No, I'm gonna start giving you some hate. And now here comes the sad...
Bring it up, baby!
Yes, so here comes the sad part of data collection and stuff. Sometimes we see that cards are doing bad, theoretically. So the win rate on Cultist of the Absolute is at minus 1.18%.
Oh my god! Oh no! No!
Education! Oh, sorry.
No,
No, that's fine.
That's brutal.
That is dark.
That hurts. Well, I think another thing is like the people playing it are probably playing Oath because it really only is seen in Oath, and people have been kind of eating crap on Oath. I think Dio is one of like the main people still rocking Oath and still playing Cults of the Absolute in that list.
But I think it's kind of more necessary in that sort of list.
I know, 100%.
You're trying to get such large permanence as your win con.
Exactly, like Diata, for just like like a perfect example, right? Because you get her out.
To get to 5 power or greater, like very quickly, in order to try to like solidify that win. And I think it's necessary in those builds. I think in the types of builds that we're currently on, like if just comparing my build to your build,
420.
I don't think you need Cultist. I think Cultist is it's an option. Like it'll allow you to get certain things in your list that you
for sure
get very quickly.
No, you're right. It is absolutely an option. Like if it wasn't Cultist the Absolute, I'd be on Grand.
I think that's a good spot.
Very, very, very easily. Like I don't think either is wrong. I just like Cultist being able to jump me up that list immediately.
Very high, yeah.
But instead of like, I got to get Grand. Now I'm going to get Kinnan. Now I'm going to get whatever the hell I want. But like, you know what I mean? Like it's...
Pretty much.
It's more so just like to ensure a one spin moment can now get me to the entirety of my...
No, that makes sense.
Oh no, he's doing comparisons. He's going to make me cry.
Uh-oh,
no,
it's time.
We might make you happy.
Oh, maybe I want to cry.
Let's do something like... small short this. So yeah, you're gonna be happy. So we have,
right. That's good. Yeah.
This is it's hard to see. I'm gonna make you guys disappear from the video so we can see the numbers there.
No, I'm with it. Yeah.
So we have 2 clusters here, and this is super small, but this is kind of how you should kind of evaluate things. So we have Oath of the Fairy, Cultist of the Absolute, Nicobolas the Dragon God, and Chromatic Array in one group. That cluster has a average power rank of 4.4. Then we have Cultist of the Absolute and Chromatic Array, ignoring Oath of the Fairy, Nicobolas, and that stuff. That is an 4.8, which indicates that they are doing better without the Oath stuff that you mentioned. So you are kind of correct in the entire thing you said. Now, you probably need to put...
vindication.
Yeah. You probably need to put some more cards in here and just dig, but in a small 100%. Surface, what you just said seems to be correct. That maybe you should just keep the Cultist and remove...
Yeah, like, again, I'm just kind of... it has a soft spot for me. Back during the Dockside days, it would just be Dockside, Cultist, go wherever the flying hell I need to be.
But what if you're not on Orrery?
I don't think you need Orrery.
I mean, I would agree with that statement in a vacuum.
Yes. I mean, there's going to be time... For the purposes of this
comparison, though, is what I'm saying. Like,
for sure, because... No, go on, please.
If we're showing the comparison between the Oath setup and just having, say, like, Cultist, I think we want to be looking at, like, the idea of Cultist in a vacuum without those cards, especially because of the fact that, say, like, the list that you're on with Cultist is not on any of those cards. What is the value of it in those scenarios where you don't have any of those cards?
Oh, so like we were talking about with the Orochi Leafcaller, like it's a good card for certain setups, but what does it do overall? I think you're right, 100%. And that's where I think I would suggest to most people play Grand. Play Skrelv. Play something that at 1 CMC is going to maybe do a little bit more for you, because at least Skrelv and Grand
Maybe like K9.
Exactly, even K9, yeah, because they they make Cradle bigger, they still buff Sisay, they have like some decent uses that are utility that are just beyond buffing Sisay. And I don't think you're wrong. I genuinely to the average player, I would suggest playing something else. I'm a ride or die for Cultist. I don't think it's necessary in every single build. I just like playing it in most of my Sisay builds because it's just, like I said, it just buffs her to the biggest that she needs to be.
Yeah, for one, it's definitely the biggest.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Have you guys ever thought about stuff like Invigorate or Mutagenic Growth?
We have in the past. The problem is that
they're one-offs.
They're one-offs. Like, the temporary buff is cool, but if we can't win that turn, if we get stuffed, I would rather have something that's going to still sit there, even like as simple as like a Lotho, or like something that's like going to continue to buff Sisay as the time goes on.
Secondarily to that, it also beckons interaction.
True,
in a way that I think
their instance, they can get Swan Song, Flusterstorm, like they can get blasted off. Yeah, 100%.
Beckoning interaction in that way is, I think, something that like Oath and Tutor Chain style builds kind of want to avoid. Like the benefit of like lowering the card quality like a fair bit or a little bit, as compared to maybe like a deck like Chowder, for instance. The benefit is that generally other people's cards don't have text on them. So like you go into a game and people are like, I have interaction, but I have stack interaction.
Yeah,
and no one's sitting on like Trick Bind, and you're like, well, I'm gonna start activating Sisay.
Beyond Trick Bind, we get to go. Yeah, we get to like in a way go under the stack.
Exactly. So we get to avoid having people's cards matter. Like your cards in your hand, the cards that you've drawn on for 630, those 20 cards, they don't matter. They don't matter to me. I don't care about them. I can give you 10 cards and be like, did you draw this exact one card? Did you draw Force of Will? Did you draw Deflecting Swat? No. Are you not on Deflecting Swat? No. You're dead.
You're probably
that's the benefit. That is the thing that we gain in exchange for card quality, is effectively lowering my opponent's card quality as a result.
To explain Invigorate a little bit to every viewer, it is a free-to-cast instant in green that will give an opponent free life, but the target creature gets +4/+4. So you can make
Which is typically enough power to make Sisay grab whatever the hell you need.
Yeah, and then you can find anything.
I think it's this Phyrexian mana. It's like 1 Phyrexian.
Yeah, it's
green
2 life. Yeah.
Which means you can pay 1 green mana or 2 life to cast it, and target creature gets +2/+2. It's an instant. I would say something that Malcolm just said is that I think is worth noting is Sisay, like I had mentioned this earlier, that there's sort of the Sisay effect where your opponents don't know what's going on. And, sometimes Sisay will fold to a Swords to Plowshares, but it has to have been casted at the perfect time, which is hard to do if you're not really familiar with what's going on. And this produces a distinction between sort of Trad Sisay and Chowder, in that, so Trad Sisay, or the like Oathless or Oath versions that are essentially Tutor Chains versions, players are not familiar with these cards, and so it's very easy to produce a board state that your opponents are either they all have stack interaction, which completely folds, or they have spot interaction or spot removal that they just don't know when to target properly, or what to target properly. Chowder's benefit is that because there's so many people playing decks similar to Trent or Malcolm or Dio, I get to sit down at a table and my deck looks like theirs. And so I actually played a game against I don't know. Do you guys know Scorish?
We're getting back to the Culling ritual, the effect.
Yeah. If you guys know, like I was in a pod with like Scorish and some other people, and I played a Mystic Remora and a Chromox on turn 1, and someone in our pod said, "I'm just gonna feed this Mystic Remora. It's a Sisay. What's he gonna do? Drop a Nicol Bolas?" And then he drew me 4 cards when he could have just not done that. And I killed them on turn 2 with a Thoracle console. And
what are you gonna do, Thoracle? Yes.
Can I comment on that? I was sitting down in a tournament when Sisay was kind of new and no one actually understood her. They read the deck list and they saw Nicol Bolas, Amenatu, Oath of the Fairy. I don't care. He has a Mystic Remora. I'm just gonna feed him. And then I play Dockside Extortionist and I won turn 3 or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Dockside is like that. So
Back then, that was the play pattern. Like, I'm gonna draw either Dockside or like one of my 7,000 cajillion tutors for Dockside.
Yeah.
And y'all are all gonna play a bunch of artifacts and enchantments to try to get value, and I'm going to kill you.
Yep.
But it was the
so many
complete
games like
misconception as well. Like, no, I'm not casting them like that, you think.
Yeah, the other thing that's even better is because I don't run those legends, and I don't even cast Sisay most of the time. My deck looks like, not only do I look like I'm playing a Trad Sisay list, but I look like I'm playing a Trad Sisay list that's having a terrible game. And
Yeah.
so I've played games where I had 2 lands, a Simian Spirit Guide out, a Kutzal. There's like a big stack war where there's like someone threatens a draw. We go, you're still ahead even if you have to cast your consult. You've already tutored twice. The other player's rolled the 3. This guy's win attempt that he consulted for is what gets stopped. I don't even have Sisay in play. I just have 2 lands and a Kutzal. And so the game continues because I looked like a Sisay deck that had 2 lands, a Kutzal, and nothing else. And then I get to my turn with a Kutzal, who's essentially a Grand Abolisher, and I go, Dockside for 7, play Kinnan, you guys are super duper dead. Like, and
shake hands, shake hands.
Again, because I look like I'm playing, not only do I look like I'm playing a deck that doesn't run any of the cards I do, I look like I'm a deck that doesn't play any of the cards I do, and it's having an awful time. It's just, I've got none of my legends, I can't even cast Sisay. It's awful.
Come on, guys.
And then I can Dark Ritual out.
I'm just the guy.
Yeah. So
I'm just making soup over here.
These two decks do complement each other in that respect, where they're both of them.
100%.
Ironically, despite the fact that I'm running only the cards that everybody knows, my deck is also incredibly hard for people to conceptualize unless they've played against me before, because I look like I'm playing your deck, and that confuses people just as much as if I was playing your deck.
And the double down on that sort of like masking is that when I sit down at the table, I'm like, the people are like, "Are you playing Chowder?" And I'm like, "Nah." And they're like, "Are you playing Planeswalkers?" I'm like, "Nah." Don't worry about it. Don't worry about this.
What are you doing?
Don't worry about Sokka. Sokka's not important. He's just there.
He's just a dude. He's
just
being a guy.
He's,
Like,
he
I'm
literally is
playing
just
a bunch of bad
It'll
cards.
quench you. It'll
Don't
quench
worry
you.
about it. These cards are all bad. Let me draw cards, please. Don't worry. It's fine. I'm not gonna totally play an Argothian Elder and put a fucking hidden footplate on it and kill you right now. It's fine.
To move
The
on,
Argothian Elder's not live.
Trent, what was your next card on your list?
We could go over Luiso's Sacrifice next, which was page 262 of my...
Enduring the 262. No, sorry,
262.
262.
Oh, there's not even an image for it. Oh no.
Yeah, what the heck is this?
It's a great card. It's a great card.
It's this one,
You
yeah.
just gotta believe it. So, this has been a card that I think we've, especially me and Malcolm, have gone back and forth on this many times, as in like personal discussions. I love this card. It comes as a 3-mana negate that also stops. It's also a negate. It's also a stifle. I think that alone is what makes it so good for me. Even though it's 3 mana on the page, it can be dangerous to sacrifice your legendary pieces to attempt to use it, right? And that's usually where Malcolm usually busts my balls. It's like, what are you doing sacrificing your board progression just to interact? And a lot of back and forth comes from like, I'm a little caveman about it, where it's like I would rather sacrifice my Sisay at the absolute worst to make sure we don't lose the game, right? I would rather go to the Stone Age than just lose. I don't think it's wrong to be off of it, by all means. I'm not saying this is the make it or break it Sisay card, but I've just had so many key points where it's like I have enough mana, recasting Sisay isn't a problem, or like I play like Taru, where like, okay, cool, I've gotten my 3 treasures out of it, I'll sacrifice it to make sure I stop a Thoracle win. Like it's just been very helpful, and so I've actually cast it for full mana many times. Like it's not like 3 mana is a little bit of a tough ask, but it's not impossible. Yeah. Like we are the mana progression deck typically. So.
the
Tell
small
me,
thing I would like
what do the stats say? Talk to me.
the stat is saying that this is showcasing an enormous promise. So it has a win rate of plus 0.61. So you're cultist, you can throw that one out and you can keep doing this.
Cultist, goodbye. Lewisos, it's so good to see you.
Yes. Now, one thing I would like to say more is that this is a fairly new card, and all new cards either get a very high win rate or a very low win rate. They don't get like the middle ground. Eventually, over time, they shrink towards something of like, yeah, this is kind of where it should be, so to say.
Right. Okay.
Like play rate wise, it's around 15% in CC builds. However, as it is a new card, play rate doesn't function either. You can't evaluate it with that.
Yeah. It's not even a year old yet. That makes sense.
Yeah, but
wait, is it a year old yet?
It is kind of showcasing too, like 1 mana blue counterspell, counter trigger ability to maybe good.
It's just a very good wide range. Like, I'm not going to play Trick Bind, but I'm also like not going to play Fierce Guardianship, right?
Yeah.
And it's like when you have a card that's only 1 mana and does the same thing, or I guess an Offer You Can't Refuse would be a better comparison, because it's like that actually is the best comparison, because an Offer You Can't Refuse, yeah, it's a great card. It counters any creature spell, but now you got to hand them 2 treasures. And I've seen people continue their wins off of 2 treasures. It's like, oh, cool, you stopped this. I don't care. We're gonna keep it going.
Oh, thanks. I was tapped out before.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Next card.
Next card, let me see. I think we were going to talk about... I guess I could get into the Warren Soul Trader stuff. Perfectly happy to talk about some Warren Soul Trader stuff. So
we definitely should. By the way, I don't think we have Warren Soul Trader in here, right?
Do you have Chatterfang? I have Chatterfang in at... where is it?
95.
Soul Trader is
95.
Oh, Warren Soul
Trader's at
Trader
457.
is in here.
157.
Pull up. I feel like Chatterfang's the more prominent one, which is 95.
I think they're kind of a married pair in a sense.
They're 100% a married pair, but it's like I feel like Chatterfang has more important text than Warren Soul Trader, because Warren Soul Trader says sack a creature, get a treasure. I think that's like a pretty easy concept to grasp.
I think you're gonna laugh when you look at Warren Soul Trader's stats in comparison to Chatterfangs.
100%, because people actually use Warren Soul Traders in other builds. Like, a Rakdos player like our buddy Tyler might play Warren Soul Trader, but he's sure as shit not playing Chatterfang.
Well, like I said, you're gonna be a little surprised, because I saw Chatterfang when it was on the screen, and I'm looking at Warren Soul Trader on my other monitor. He's whipping out the
stats on me.
Oh, it's gonna be nasty.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So. To begin with, Warren Soul Trader is a heavily played card in general.
Oh, yeah.
It's being played in a lot of different Sisay builds. No, not Sisay builds, I should say. In a lot of other tournaments. The most one I think I've seen when I collect this data is Marnius, Caligar, and Corval. But Corval doesn't show up that much. So it's Marnius that mostly play this. And
I would also say Rakdos the Muscle.
Yes, sorry, forgot that one. But he isn't played super much that though. Like Marnius pops up a little bit more in tournaments.
Absolutely, yeah. I like in me and Malcolm's meta, we only have one Rakdos player. He's the best Rakdos player I know, but he's there.
Yeah.
And honestly, I haven't seen a serious Marnius in
a long
time.
I think the last Marnius I played against was actually Gold Saber.
Yeah, I think he's still on.
Is he
still on Marnius? Because I don't remember him being on Marnius at the most recent tournament I saw him at.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what he was playing either. So
exactly.
If you look at the play rate, once again, this is a fairly newer card, not entirely, but the play rate is at 6.2. So you might be one of the few that runs this.
What was the page number for this? Sorry about
457.
that. 457. Thank you. Yeah, there he is. He's handsome.
And the win rate is on minus 0.37. So it's indicating that this is not... like, the truth of the matter is that this card has been played in decks that don't generally win as much as decks that don't play this.
For sure. I think that makes a lot of sense. I can only speak for Sisay, of course.
Yeah.
But lately, we've really come around on the Warren Soul Trader Chatterfang lists, or combo. Clam might play it to some extent. Oathless will play it. I've even seen some Oath builds play it, but it's only something that's come around, I want to say, in the past, like, maybe 6 months of people like dedicatedly running it and then actually topping and winning with it. I played a couple local tournaments in the past couple months, and Warren Soul Trader got me there almost every single time. Not even within Chatterfang, like just Warren Soul Trader sacking my dudes after they make a mana, and then I have Kinnan on the field. Like it's been a very helpful card, and I think like as far as Sisay goes, a lot of people are like still on the fence. It's like, oh, do we want, like, we might still play Oath, but do we also play this? Do we play Thoracle Breach? Do we include this here? Like, it's a good combo, but it's not. Oh, and also in comparison to like Iorith and Marvin, who are like DJ Granny, as we like to call her, where it's like, is that worth it in the same aspect if you don't have haste? Whereas this doesn't require haste. Just a little harder to get a hold of.
Yeah, and I think I just want to add something very small here.
No, please.
So Warren Soul Trader is not super heavily played. Like I mentioned, it's like Marnius, Corvold, and that. Me. So the pair amount of data here is very small. So we shouldn't like say this is a true verdict. Like if you're discovering new concepts and things, like it could evaluate out in a better understanding.
100%. And like, so for Chatterfang in specific, yeah, perfect, thank you. Chatterfang, he's got a lot of words on him. The Forest Walk isn't nothing, not for nothing. We are sometimes a Derevi deck. Being able to connect is always a good thing. But the one, making the squirrel tokens anytime we make a treasure, anytime we make, actually, I think that's really all the tokens we're making. I don't know. I play Voice of Victory. You know, sometimes
we make a lot of treasure in a lot of ways. Like we're on to
Tartaru. We have a lot of token producers.
We'll talk about that later.
We will talk about Cabbage Man. But we have a lot of ways to produce tokens to where the incidental value that Chatterfang gives us when we're also playing Warren Soul Trader, when we're playing Cradle, when we're playing, like some people play Cryptolith, right? Like it's not an impossible time. Or like flooding the board with a bunch of 1/1s, and now our Derevi guarantees a few hits. And not for nothing, honestly, one of his most important text lines is the sacrificing to kill something. Or buffing. You can buff Sisay. It's not impossible for you to do that, to make sure you maybe need to grab, like, if you only have Chatterfang and Sisay, maybe you sack a squirrel to buff Sisay once, and now you can grab 3 fairy. I've done that before. It's not possible.
But also there's some sick synergy with that too. Like if you've already established, like, or you're about to establish the win, like you have a way to tutor for the Warren Soul Trader, but you have Chatterfang on the board. If someone's about to blow up Sisay for whatever reason, you can use Chatterfang's ability to kill Sisay and lock in the tutor at an even higher power rate.
That's right, because Sisay always checks the last known power. That's true.
Yep. Isn't it -X -X though? So her
no, it is plus X minus X.
Plus X minus X.
Yes.
Dude,
so if she's a 3/3, you can go. I'm gonna sacrifice 3 squirrels. I'm gonna give Sisay +3 -3. She's dead. And now my tutor is for the tutor that I already had on the stack is for 6 now.
Yep. Okay. We need to emphasize so people understand. Chatterfang's ability is give +X -X. So you increase power, decrease toughness. Sisay die, but last known information makes her find something big power.
Because her last known power on the battlefield was a 6/0.
We run in this in Chowder as well. And so for those listening at home, if you have a Sisay, say I have a Sisay and a Lotho in play, and Sisay's a 4/4. If I activate Sisay, I can get something that has mana value 3 or less, so I can get Teferi Time Reveler.
Yep.
Novices might think, okay, so I'll swords the Sisay. If the Sisay gets swords to Plowshare or any kind of removal on her that isn't -X -X, when Sisay's dead, the activated ability will resolve, and it will operate based on last known information. So the correct way would be to use your Lightning Bolt to kill the Lotho, because then Sisay goes down to a 2/2, and then it resolves. What we can do is, similar to this Chatterfang thing, I run Culling the Weak. So I can respond by going, okay, sacrifice my Sisay, make 4 black, and her power is locked in at what it was before they removed the Lotho. Yep. So it's a similar thing. So that's sort of the principle that's being discussed here.
Absolutely. That's something that goes over a lot of people's heads where, like, you know, one of my last top 4 games, I had Sisay, a Kinnan, some other legends, and like I was about to be able to spin for Chatterfang, and they're like, okay, I'll kill Sisay, and I'm like sitting there like, cool. thanks.
Yeah.
I already have Warren Soul Trader. My Chatterfang's about to be put into play. Like the correct answer would have been to kill the Kinnan, or another one of probably
Soul
Kinnan.
Trader.
Yeah, or the Soul Trader. Yeah, exactly. With they didn't know what was going on. And that's, again, to bring it back to a concept we've been talking about this whole time. Sisay just naturally has that brewer's advantage position of, you don't know if you're on clam. You don't know if you're doing Warren Soul Trader shit. You don't know if you got a ham sandwich and a shia in your back pocket. Like, it's just, there's so many ways to build her that you got to be on your toes at all times.
I want to comment and be the guy with
sure.
the data and explain it. This kind of really makes me happy because, like I said at the beginning of this video, I've been really scared of just unloading this data to people. But if you actually look and at average confident challenges on Chatterfang, 908, which is super small compared to this at 2000, Chain of Vapor 25,000. So the answer here is that you can't trust the numbers, and I honestly think you're onto something. I think that the Chatterfang and the Warren Soul Trader sounds like a great 2-card combo for Sisay.
Well, it is. So the hardest part is obviously finding Warren Soul Trader. It's not legendary. How the flying hell do you go about it? And if you look at my list, I have a few ways that I like to insulate that ability to find him. I play Neoform. I play Imperial Seal. I'm playing Court of Culling. I'm playing, Vampire Tutor. I'm not playing Worldly Tutor at the moment for a long list of reasons. Not to say it's not a bad card. It's just I've not been a fan of top deck tutors lately, and if I am going to have a top deck tutor, I'd rather have something like Imperial Seal, where I can grab anything. If I'm being 100% open, I've also been debating cutting Imperial Seal, maybe putting Domri's Call in, because again, I just want to be able to find good general creatures as fast as possible. And once you get those 2 cards, the next question is, well, how do you win, right? You get Warren Soul Trader, you get Chatterfang. How do you actively get through? Ooh, what are we looking at? Talk to me here.
I actually have a short answer for you.
A lot of people playing Imp Seal.
No, not actually. So
no?
21%, it has a play rate of 21%.
I see, okay.
So it is not a heavily Sisay played card. I personally don't like this in Sisay. And
yeah, there have been games. You know what the problem is? I come back and forth on the card because we can't draw the card immediately like something like T and K could. Plus, like I said, we have a Rakdos in our meta, so the amount of times I've gone like, okay, I'll Imperial Seal, and he's like, excellent, thank you for that card, I really appreciate it. And I'm like, right.
Yes.
yes.
Another reason why I'm not huge on the top deck tutors to begin with, but
also Ragavan,
Ragavan's very real, very real card. I will probably wind up swapping in and out. I've had games where Imperial Seal just got me there. I think I'm just still high on the card because of the games that it's done well for me. But what's more important, I think I'd like to just talk about is like when you have Warren Soul Trader and you have Chatterfang, the next question is, how do you win? And I remember, me and the Clam homies were going back and forth on this, where they prefer to play Peregrine Took.
I was going to bring that up.
Yep. And I prefer to play Campbell Profiteering Mayor, which I don't know for the sake of your table. Hold on. I want to pull up Campbell first. I just don't know where he. A minute.
Just search the document. That's the easiest way to find things. Like if you just search the
Campbell
name.
does not have a page.
Yeah.
Campbell does. It goes hard. Does Peregrine have one?
He does not either.
No. Okay. So if you wanna hit up Scryfall for me, so we can at least show off the cards. So I'll start with Campbell Profiteering Mayor. Yeah. So this guy, the reason why I love him and why I've chosen him over Peregrine Took, whenever an opponent makes a token, we get one of those tokens. It only activates once per turn. It's still solid, but that means treasures. That means tokens, like any 1/1s, any small dudes. It also means Atalis, which, not for nothing, I have spun for Campbell in response to Atali copying themselves, and I'm like, excellent, I get the Atali. And then, maybe I'll get a kill spell off top, kill their Atali, they don't get a copy. Which is, I don't know. It's happened before, it's acceptable. But obviously the most important thing is whenever you make a token, everyone drains one. You gain 1 life, everyone else loses 1 life. And I like having that Sisay like Sisay reliant almost combo that once you make the 5 treasures with Campbell and Warren Soul Trader, Warren Soul Trader and Chatterfang, you can now spin through Sisay to go get your Campbell, and it's just more of like a compact win con, right? Whereas, and I'm sure Mr. Clam himself over here wants to tell me to use Took instead. Took lets you draw out your deck, which allows you access to all your win cons. If you want to, Peregrine Took, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. So
no, please pop off, please.
Yeah, so I want to shout out Duncan and Shaka, who are the two people putting up the best chowder results these days. They sort of were doing Warren Soul Trader Chatterfang in chowder, and then somebody else whose name I can't remember discovered this. But Peregrine Took actually goes infinite with Warren Soul Trader. So if we think about the Warren Soul Trader, you have to pay a life to activate it. What this does is every time you're making those treasure tokens, you also make a food. Now, because food is 2 mana for 3 life, you're essentially, every 3 treasures you make, you essentially get a mana and a life, which makes it go completely infinite. It also, it's funny with Chatterfang because if you stack the replacement effects correctly, you make a treasure. You replace that with I'm making a treasure and a food. You replace that with I'm making a treasure, a food, and 2 squirrels. So you also get infinite squirrels, which is good. But because Chatterfang says make that many squirrels, not an additional squirrel on top. Now, this also says sacrifice 3 food, draw a card. So this is beneficial for sort of in 2 ways. One, in our deck, because we're on like Breach and Thoracle and Consult, it's we can outlet infinite mana and drawing our deck very easily. Everyone can do that.
You have more generic win cons that like you drawing all those cards makes sense to see.
Right. Mm-hmm. And the second thing is this card's actually can be very strong with things like Tutaru, Lotho,
any of our token generators.
The
Absolutely.
Cabbage Man. Because with the Cabbage Man, it says every non-creature spell makes 2 food tokens, which means now instead of it being 2 spells per 1 mana, it's now 1 spell per 1 mana. And then, so a very common play pattern is you make a bunch of food with the Cabbage Man in this in play, you spend all of that mana, and then you sack all of them and draw 8 cards. And you can, so as just a generic value piece alongside 100%. Cabbage Man or Lotho, this ends up drawing some cards, and then also it just outlets fairly well. So we have found it to be
I'll 100% take the knee. That is a better generic win con versus like a Sisay labeled win con, if that makes sense.
As far as
100%.
Definitely. I think that there's I think Cabal makes more sense in the trad list, but for us specifically, this does our purposes better, and then it values better with Cabbage Man. 100%. I played it in my deck once, and I found myself tutoring for having one of them in play and Sisay activating for the other just so I could have Took plus Cabbage, and it wins the game super hard.
Small comment here. Speaking about you sitting down playing a weird Sisay deck that doesn't get to play Sisay, I want to see people's faces when you cast Peregrine Took.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to cast Peregrine Took.
Oh, yeah.
To move on.
I played a Hulk version once too, and they freak out when they see an Academy Rector, I'll tell you that.
Oh my god, I can only imagine. Holy shit.
To move on, what is your next card you want to highlight and talk about?
My next card I would love to talk about is probably the One Ring, which is page 422.
Sorry, what page was it on?
422.
Yes.
So this card, good. The stats look awful on it. It has come out back and forth through many lists over the years since its inception. On paper, it is just a generically good cEDH card, right? Tapping it, drawing cards, not bad. I will be honest, before I go into this, I'm always back and forth on this card. There are times where it performs like crazy, the game goes long enough, I'm able to tap it, draw 5 cards, maybe a Derevi is there, we're just doing some crazy shenanigans. It happens. And those highs, the ceiling as you will, is so good. But on paper, it's kind of shitty for us, right? It's a 4 CMC, no pip legend that draws us 3 cards within 2 turns. That's kind of ass. But I've had a lot of games where even the protection comes up is good against, say, a Tymna deck, right? Or just being able to, like I said, with the Derevi, you just get to draw a couple cards. Like I said, I'm a little back and forth on it. It technically breaks my usual philosophy of it's 4 CMC plus what else does it do besides just draw cards. I put it in recently because I've just been feeling with this version of the deck, I want to be eating as much cards as possible. I need to be refilling my hand as much as possible. And beyond playing a Wheel of Fortune, I figured this was just the next best thing. I'm already playing all the normal draw engines. It's just generically good. And to talk about it alongside, because I know Malcolm wanted me to at least yap about it, was also Dark Ritual, which is page 120. Now, I think at this point we all know what Dark Ritual does, right? It's 1 mana, get 3 mana. I see no reason why this would be an issue. It's an arguably worse mana vault, as people love to compare it to in Sisay. But, you know, just this mild ritual, it helps me cast One Ring much sooner. It helps me cast Warren Soul Trader much sooner. It helps me cast Campbell. I've casted the Campbell on turn 1 many times because of like land, like a Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, here's Campbell. And, you know, a turn 1 that is just nuts. It casts OBM pretty easily. It helps cast Deadpool easily. It activates Emule for 1 mana, which if you need to get the chain going, you know, it helps. The amount of it casts it casts Dark Ray. It casts Demonic Tutor. It's just such a again, it comes back to both of them being generically good cEDH cards that yes, there may not be the perfect card for every Sisay build, but they're at least worth considering if you feel that you need a little bit more. Like, I like Dark Grit to just feed the mana a little bit more. Again, it activates Emule. Sometimes when we do those lines, we need like a couple extra mana. It helps cast Deadpool, Warren Soul Trader, Urtai. Maybe you want to dump it into your Wan Shi Tong a little bit more. It casts Relic of Legends by itself. It helps with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Dark Grit just does so much for so little. And I've had games where, yeah, it does jack shit. 3 mana, like, right? Like, that. What's the best that it can do? But there's been games where it's like, okay, everyone's drawn me a shit ton of cards. Dark Grit into Relic of Legends, excellent. I've just gone plus in so many ways because I already have 7 legends out, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just excellent. And I'm not playing the Necro, and that's what I want to stir into, is that this is, again, a remainder piece from when I was on the Lobster Bisque, the more soup-related build, because I was playing all the Necros. But after playing a lot of games with it, I was like, honestly, I might not play the Necros, but still having the 3 mana for 1 is, there's nothing wrong with that. It will help more than it will hurt in most often. Oh, and Smothering Tithe, helping cast Smothering Tithe. Like, we just have so many good 3 to 4 CMC cards that Dark Grid is just damn decent for. And to bring it back to the One Ring, again, I'm a little less confident on the One Ring.
What page was the One Ring again? Sorry?
422.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah, so like, again, just want to speak up for Dark Grit's sake because of the One Ring, because it's just another 3 to 4 CMC card that Dark Grit just helps, Dark Grit helps cast into. And to those back home who are viewing, if you're debating on One Ring and Sisay and you're just unsure, don't let me make or break it for you. That is a pilot preference of, you think Rhystic, Mystic, and Esper is enough. You are not crazy for that, not by any measure. It's just, I want to try it. It's generically good. And you might have a bad time. There might be games where it's dead. But I've had too many games where it's helped out. So it's like, it comes and goes.
I have actually a data comment to this one.
Talk to me.
So I took a look at this in lots of different aspects because I really wanted to get a clear picture. And the answer was, it's very good when you start to build synergy with it, like Seedborn Muse, the keys, the land.
True. Yep.
And you are actually doing that in some sense. Like, Derevi is nuts with this thing.
Oh my god, yeah. I have a bunch of dudes. You have no creatures. I will flicker or DJ tap this so many times.
Yeah. And like, Seedborn Muse is a cool card inside some very greedy Sisay builds, but it is not that good inside, for example, Blue Farm. If Blue Farm don't play any of those cards, then it's usually bad.
Exactly.
So you kind of need to build around this one.
Exactly. cEDH as a whole, One Ring on paper is good. Like, if you're playing a non-blue deck, for every reason, you should be playing the One Ring. You need to fill your hand as much as possible. But in a deck like TNK and even Sisay, it comes down to something I said very early in this thing, where We are a 5-color deck. We get to play the best of everything. Can it make the fit? Is there enough room? And that's a pilot preference.
Yeah.
You need to figure that out for yourself. The stats might be good, the stats might be bad. The people at your LGS might beat you in the parking lot for not playing it, but it's at least worth considering for yourself because it's a damn good card. As far as I think I only had one card left on this, and this is a new to the crew. I know Malcolm might have been giving me a little bit of shit for this. My final one was Spider Woman, which is page 268.
I was not giving you any shit for this. I was just
Why not?
curious.
Give me more shit for this.
I was just curious what your take was on the defensive tutors. My philosophy going into kind of that idea of defensive tutors, like Urtai, for instance.
For sure.
I've been actually trying to generally cut them because of the fact that it ends up kind of forcing you into a position where you have to burn your tutor and kind of tap out and put yourself in a bad position just to, do something that your opponents expect you to do, and they'll withhold their interaction.
Yep. That's the main reason why I was off Urtai for a long time, because too many times people would be like, oh, hey, we're all going to lose. Sisay, you got to spin, hit that Urtai, come on. And then, you lose your ground advantage where you could have spun for anything else and set up for the next turn. Like, you're right. You're 100% correct. As far as defensive tutors go, I do typically hate it. I think I'm a big stander in the Sisay server as a whole, just despising stacks as a whole for Sisay. I think if you want to play any stacks pieces in Sisay beyond just silence pieces, I don't really count those as stacks pieces, but it's Spider Woman because 2 mana, 2 pips, creatures and artifacts enter tap, like that's generically good enough, but also deafening silence. Because typically we're a creature-based deck, we're not jamming so many, non-creature cards all day long. Those are the only 2 pieces that I would consider being good enough. But even still, I'm a very loud proponent of no stack Sisay. Now, I will say, to bring it back to what you asked, like, Spider-Woman's just been solid, right? She's blue, she pitches to force. For a lot of our legends, that is a hilarious floor that it really all it needs to be. But the flying aspect on it, again, we're a Derevi deck. That's not nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's something to at least help with. And I agree with you that it is definitely a more of a defensive spin. I don't think I would ever spin for this for what it's worth, but it is a defensive card to where it's not like all it's doing is slowing everyone else down and buffing Sisay. That's not progressing us necessarily, and that is technically speaking a bad thing, right? Like you're 100%. I will say I'm not sold on it. This did only come in maybe a week or 2 ago, and it's done like okay work. This doesn't really do anything against Atali except slow them down in the early games, right? Which is okay. It doesn't do much against T&K because they're just going to be cracking their LED anyway. LED doesn't need to tap for things to go right. But it does kind of break the back of Kinnan. I have a lot of Kinnans in our meta, and this makes them have to sit there for a turn. This kind of breaks the back of Rogthras, where they want to just start jamming out mana and artifacts. And it's like
in general, it's going to affect everyone by some tiny margins.
Exactly.
The part where
it will hinder in some manner, for sure.
And this, compared to like Collector Oof that destroys you, this only hurts the enemies. And it comes into play quite fast. So it's like it's at a functional Collector Oof.
Exactly. Like, again, it has keywords that we like. It's got the pips that we enjoy. It's a legendary. It flies. Like, it just does so many minute things that it just adds up to being good enough.
Yeah.
Kind of like Wan Chi Tong, which I'm sure is on your database list, but for the same reason of
it's great.
It's a generically good card. It has a lot of words on it. Why the hell wouldn't you play it?
Yeah.
Like, it's almost skirting that line of being just good enough, but also maybe not being there. Again, for anyone at home, if you're debating on Spider-Woman, it is not a bad option. If you're debating on Deafening Silence, it is not a bad option. But as Malcolm said, defensive cards can just be very poor when you're trying to progress your own board state. 100%.
I actually agree with Malcolm 100% that is a very risky thing to enter into. So it is not bad to have them, but you kind of need to have an idea about it could become a trap.
Yeah. Absolutely. You don't want to be on your heels trying to progress. You want to be on the attack. You want to literally be moving as fast as possible, as much as possible.
Speaking of which, Malcolm, because this was your last card, right, Trent?
No, that was it. Mr. Malcolm, please lead it in. Let's yap about your shit.
Oh, we got.
I want to know.
So much weird shit to yap about right now. Where should I start? I think I want to start, since we're talking about fast. Let's talk about a card that. Let's talk about our first card that has no entry on this list. This is not going to be in the database at all. I tried looking for it, and it is nowhere to be found.
What's the name?
We're talking about Sneak Attack.
Yeah,
that card's great.
It goes hard.
It does go hard. I think one thing that so my logic on Sneak Attack is something that I'm willing to talk to a lot of people about. So I tried, as the mad scientist will generally, I tried a lot of ways of recombining haste enablers and trying to get like flash online as well. Things like Vivian, Champion of the Wilds. Like, I'm about to go through a whole laundry list of cards. You don't have to put them all on the screen. Vivian, Champion of the Wilds, Wrath, Capuchin's Ship's Mage. All these sorts of like flash and haste enablers, like Chainer, Olivia, Hidden Footblade. The recombination of all those effects bogs down the deck. Because if I play a flash enabler, now I have to wait until I can then wait to flash in the thing that I want to flash in, right? So I'm setting myself up very poorly by playing a legend that gives me flash that then other people are like, oh, we got to destroy that because it's the thing that gives Malcolm flash. Sneak Attack does both jobs. Like, it is a card that for a reasonable amount of mana, I think, because everybody I think in this game will agree that Smothering Tithe is a reasonable card to cast. For the same amount of mana in 3 and a red, you get a card that effectively reduces the cost of every creature in your hand to 1 mana, gives them flash, and gives them haste in 1 card. So, yes, Smothering Tithe will make you mana to do all the things that you want to do, but if you can do everything that you want to do for less mana, you don't need more mana. So, if you can do
you
both,
forgot one thing here. They can't counterspell them either.
That either.
True.
Like,
yeah, once again, it's another like Sisay tech where it's like you go under the stack. You want to stifle it? Sure. But if you don't have that, I am putting the creature into play with haste.
But also, if I have more than 1 red mana, you better have 5 stifles. You better have as many stifles as I have red mana.
Exactly.
I have a question for you, Malcolm, or all of you CC players. If they made a legendary Sneak Attack.
Played.
They have, but it's not as good as Sneak Attack, and that's the problem.
True.
There is a Perforos that is a Sneak Attack.
Oh, but no.
And Tanic itself is kind of a Sneak Attack.
No, but it's still timing restrictions, right?
Tanic, what you call it? It is timing restricted, yes.
Yeah, okay, never mind. If they made something that was hard Sneak Attack on a creature, I'm in.
Yeah, it's Perforos. It's a 5 mana Perforos.
I wouldn't run it.
Also, it's 5 mana, so it's even more mana than Sneak Attack, and the activation I think is 1 in a red on top.
When you play Selvala, young man, you can play this Sneak Attack in your clan build.
Sneak Attack, my Adnaz into play, and
but no, like,
then I'm not playing it.
That's the crazy thing. Like, and the great part about Sneak Attack is that it's extremely flexible. Like, I can use it to flash something in defensively. I can go, all right, here's a Sneak Attack on my next turn, activate Sneak Attack, or on somebody's end step, activate Sneak Attack. Here's a Cutzel.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Like, you didn't interact with the Sneak Attack, and now you're dead. And so, like, that's one of the great things. But it also recombines with so many cards in the deck. You have me thinking again about Warren Soul Trader Chatterfang, because now I don't have to put them on the board at the same time.
Correct. It's just a compact, decent way to get about your business.
Exactly. I could activate Sneak Attack, and I just be like, all right, well, here's a Warren Soul Trader. Activate Sneak Attack. Here's a Chatterfang. 2 red, win the game.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of synergy we're looking for, where we land this sneak attack. We have a couple of red mana. We're off to the races. There's so many ways to continue to make red mana because it gives things haste. Sneak a Faber Elder. It taps for red because sneak attack is red. You can untap it. You can sneak in the Derevi to untap the Faber Elder. Keep going. Like sneak in an Emiel, win the game.
Yep.
Like there's so much recombination to be had.
It's also not for nothing that one of the things that Sisay tends to suffer from is when we have all of our combo pieces in our hand. And now we have to hope through Ristics and Mystics and all the interaction in the world that we can actually resolve them. But now you can skirt that a little bit. Sure, you need to have red mana, but you can skirt that, right? Like you can get around people's everything. It's another way to go under the stack.
If you have a Tinder Wall, that's 2 activations right there. If you have green mana to cast it, boom, done. If you put it under a Soul Cauldron, just start sacrificing the creatures that you're sneak attacking in. If they get 1/1 counters, and just like there's so much utility to be had out of sneak attack. Like you can sneak attack something in on someone's end step and it doesn't go away until your next end step. So if you had red mana on someone else's turn you didn't want to waste, here's 3 creatures that I had in my hand.
Exactly.
Let's make a turn out of it.
Now, someone to yap against sneak attack, because personally I hate sneak attack, and we're on a very similar build as far as get the creature into play, give it haste, go about your business. Mm-hmm. But much like the same problem as we had with a few other cards, like even Coda, this card does nothing by itself, right? You need to have 5 mana. Like I know it's 4 mana on its cost, but it's technically 5, right?
Yeah, so you need to be able to.
You're looking at a 5 CMC card that needs to have X to be good with, but again, if you have that mana, it's a good time. You're probably going to get everything you want out of it. But if you don't have that, if you have some artifacts, sneak attack, and lands in your hand, that's probably dog shit, right? Like,
I kind of want to build on that. Like my Sisay build is heavily on mana and doesn't draw that many cards. There's a huge. I agree with everything you're saying, Malcolm. I think this card is definitely underplayed, haven't been tested enough, and there's enormous potential. But it feels like Smothering Tide is always going to deliver on its own, where this kind of demands that I have the cards or I draw into the cards, and my deck in general don't draw that many.
I definitely think Sneak Attack is stronger, especially when you have like a glut of cards in your hand, like when you have a card draw engine. But that's what I think is the goal of Sneak Attack. It's not something that you look for a hand, like you don't keep your hand because of Sneak Attack.
Sure. Yeah. It's just a decent card that when you find it, it does the.
You go into the game and you're looking at the game and you're saying, all right, I'm gonna keep a hand that has a card draw engine. That card draw engine is gonna draw me into what I need to utilize something like Sneak Attack if I see it, right?
Yeah.
It's an option that you're giving yourself in order to supplement whatever card draw you already have. If you don't have decent card draw, like you're not on Rhystic or you're not on Mystic Immoral or you're not on like any number of like heavy card draw cards, you're not going to see this enough because you're not really looking for it. Like I would say, I don't Enlighten Tutor for Sneak Attack. Like I would Enlighten Tutor for Smothering Tide because it's a much more reliable card. I would rather set up an issue. I would rather set up a game state where Sneak Attack is good when I see it, rather than try to game Sneak Attack and play it from my opening hand because it's important in that.
And I guess that leads into a question I have. How often are people actually letting this resolve? Because we already have to deal with resolving our good cards, let alone our setup cards. It's an enchantment. It's still going to get hit by Force of Will, Force Negation, Offer, Swan Song. It's still going to get hit by most things. Like, do you find it to still be converting enough for you?
So one thing I have to say about it is I haven't seen it in a while.
Classic.
Valid. That's damn valid. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen Sneak Attack in over a month. if not more. I don't remember the last time.
But the
that I
theory
actually
behind it is
saw.
still there. Like everything is
Yeah.
like
Sure. Like on paper, this card still is correct for us, right?
I think what's generally happening is when I want to resolve sneak attack, it's at a point in the game where I have a decent amount of advantage, but I have a bunch of cards in my hand for whatever reason. Like I had an Esper Sentinel, or I had all of the card draw cards on the battlefield, and I've drawn so many cards that now I want to use a limited amount of mana in order to explode. And I think sneak attack does that very well. Like sneak attack has a really powerful ability to convert a limited amount of mana into a lot of cards. And I think that kind of acts sort of as our underworld breach in a sense for a deck like mine that's very creature based. If you were able to resolve this one spell, like if you had 20 cards in your hand or whatever, you're gonna win the game. Like this is the end of the game. Or like you're gonna land your Teferi on someone's end step, and then you're gonna use limited mana to cast sneak attack, and then just start going off to the races. Right.
Which makes sense.
I think we've talked enough about sneak attack and like what it kind of does for the deck.
For sure.
I think as a one-off include, it's probably one of the most powerful one-off include.
For sure.
Like it just does the thing when
it on paper it's very strong. It's just how you can execute it, which I think is what, like, if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, that's okay too. Like, and like
sometimes you can just keep a sneak attack hand. Sometimes you just see a hand and it's just like, all right, well, I can play a turn 1 sneak attack, and then on to turn 2 I'm converting. There are insane hands that do that, where you're just like, all right, here's a Tinderwall T1, T2, Mana Vault, sneak attack, 3 sneak attacks, you're dead.
Yep.
Now, one of the bigger questions I had for you when I was looking through your list, Malcolm, I want you to talk about Summoner's Pact, because I think on paper that card makes sense for you because you're playing a Shaya and all like the good green creatures that go well with it. But like, talk to me about it, please.
It's great with sneak attack.
What page is Summoner's Pact on?
Summoner's Pact is
that should be the experiment, the laboratory. Weatherlight Labs. By the way, excellent
name. Was 398.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, is play rate is on 2.3%. So I think it's you, Malcolm.
He's positive.
I've ran it.
Okay.
So the thing about Summoner's Pact that I love is, one, in a deck that is playing kind of a big green strategy, paying for it is absurdly easy. Like it's just easy. It synergizes really well with cards like Sneak Attack, for instance, like insanely well, where you're like, all right, there's only, like, you can win the game if you have a specific creature in your hand and Sneak Attack. If you have Formidable Speaker in your hand and a Sneak Attack, you effectively win the game. Because you can Sneak Attack a Formidable Speaker, it now has haste, it allows you to discard any card and search for one of your big dorks, say like Solvala. Now you can sneak in Solvala. You can activate Solvala with just green mana. You can untap Solvala with the Formidable Speaker, so you can make a ridiculous amount of mana really fast. You can sneak in an Ashaya. You can sneak in Formidable Speaker and then get Ashaya. You can Summoner's Pact for Kyrian Ranger, and now it's only 1 mana. So for a grand total of maybe 3 mana on a sneak attack turn, you just win the game.
Now, I guess just as a sidestep question, you said Formidable Speaker. How have you found Formidable Speaker now that it's been here for a while? Like, have you found it to be good enough versus like any other tutors that we have access to? Because again, we're 5-color. We can play everything. Do you find it to be better than some things?
Right now, I like it because we have a lot of discard synergy with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Like, again, my version of the deck is a very synergy-based deck. Like, I want all my cards to work really well together. Being able to discard anything to Formidable Speaker and set yourself up for a Soul Cauldron turn is insane. I won a game once by Formidable Speakering for Olivia because I had Favor Elder in my hand, and I was like, all right, turn 1 Formidable Speaker, discard a land, get Olivia. Turn 2 Olivia. They Ashioked me, and so I just sat on my Favor Elder for 6 turns and like sat there in politic. No, I can't do anything. There's an Ashiok. I can't search.
I'm just sitting here.
I'm just a boy. Yeah, I got Olivia. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm not beating that Ashiok to death with my flying 3/3 vampire sweetheart. Like, come on.
Here I come. That's the horrible person with the horrible data. So Formidable Speaker, you can use this to search creatures, you can untap creatures. It has a current play rate, which is something you can't really do here because it's a super new card, so its play rate will always be low, but it's at 2.7%. The win rate is on minus 1.18, and the power rank is at 4.4.
He's back to being negative. He's back to being negative.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, poor, this a Mons guy. Can we ban him?
No, I mean, I think it definitely has its drawbacks, but I'm on a few cards that enable me to sort of discard and sculpt my graveyard in a way that I want to. And I think Formidable Speaker does that for me. I'm not a huge fan of hardcasting it because I feel like my legend density has suffered for including it for sure. But there are definitely games that I've won because of Formidable Speaker.
I think this is a synergy card. We talked about the One Ring before. This is amazing with the One Ring. Like if you
like this would be a great card alongside the One Ring. 100%.
Yeah, if you put things together that is going to function good, it's gonna be good. But on its own, I think this is going to be one of those expensive tutors.
That's kind of why I prefer to do things with like sneak attacking it or like putting it into play in other ways, or just throwing it in my graveyard and then eating it with a soul cauldron and giving its ability to other things.
Right.
And I think that can also be valuable as well.
Yeah, that's a bread and butter as far as our strategies go. It's like, oh no, you wheeled me and now my Faber Elder's in my grave. Anyway, here's that cauldron we talked about.
It's like, oh, thanks, Garuda. You milled my Selvala and I already had soul cauldron on the battlefield. Great.
You're my hero.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so Formidable Speaker I think is kind of a bit of a niche card. I think I include it because I like its synergy with sneak attack and I like its synergy with a lot of other cards that I currently run.
Of course,
and I make so much free mana that it almost doesn't matter.
But I don't think this is a card you can just slam into Sisay without having some concept.
This was when it was first shown, like when Formidable Speaker was first revealed to us. There was actually a bit of a war about it, being like, "Oh, this card is so good. This is every green deck should be playing this," and I'm like, "No,
it's
no,
slow.
no, no,
It's
so slow. No, 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 no.
Slow survival of the fittest. I just
that's a good way to put it.
It's harder to counter. It has a useful ability in the graveyard.
Yep.
It's god amazing. It's a god tier card.
It's got merit. Exactly. When it's on the field, when you've got the effect that you wanted out of it, and it's got haste, it is fantastic. Until that point, a little bit of ass.
It also plays well with cards like Kyrian Ranger, where like if you have Gaia's Cradle, you can play your Formidable Speaker and then untap your Gaia's Cradle by untapping the Formidable Speaker. And like so, there's a lot you can make. There's an infinite combo that you can do with Argothian Elder and Formidable Speaker that untaps all your permanents. So like there's a lot going on. I actually at my last tournament at Rip and Ship. Used Formidable Speaker, Argothian Elder, and Ashaya together to form a combo where I could make force a draw by offering to give the game away to anyone else. Because there was an opposition agent on the battlefield, and so I couldn't win, but I can give anyone else infinite mana at any time.
Oh, I see.
And potentially infinite draws because one player was playing Thrasios and one player had a Tavern Scoundrel and a Face Breaker. So I can give them infinite Tavern Scoundrel activations so they can pick up their entire deck.
This is a very tournament-specific thing. On the other hand, this entire data set is based on tournaments, so it has concepts.
Merit.
Yeah, exactly.
The merits of it all. Yeah.
Sometimes you need to make sure you can draw the game, strangely.
Exactly. If I can't win, I can draw the game.
Yeah.
Or like for instance, if I do Ashaya Kyrian Ranger or Ashaya Formidable Speaker and Magda, right? I can make infinite mana with my Magda by tapping it and untapping it with the Kyrian Ranger combo, make myself infinite treasures, and now I have infinite everything.
Yeah.
So I can't win because you have an Ashiok, but I can definitely give the game away to somebody else. Don't mess with me.
Oh, we love playing for draws.
Yeah, we love threatening people. It's
people
great.
People love the draws.
It's American as apple pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swing that big stick. I'm not losing.
What is your next card on the list?
We're looking at, I think, Cabbage Merchant.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about
Man
the
of the
Cabbage
hour.
Boy.
Talking about another card that costs 2 and a green. because we fucking love green. This is another card that's really summoners pactable. Like
Wait. I have a. Do you guys want to guess? Or maybe you've already looked, right? The win rate on this.
I have not.
Oh no, is it good or is it bad?
Guess.
Oh no, I'm so excited to see.
1, 2, 3.
It's negative.
Oh, let's go!
Shock! It's
This
negative.
card sucks.
No, it doesn't suck.
I think this card sucks.
I
Really?
think it's very average.
Yeah, fair. I mean, it's all right. It's not actually terrible. It's more mid.
Yeah.
But
So
for the
here's
sake of it, it sucks.
No,
Here's the thing.
It is. Here's the thing. It is in the middle ground of being
Yeah,
good,
100%.
so to say.
Yeah.
So if you actually look at the meta pool pairs, it has been play tested with a lot of Sisay cards. If you look at the average confidence challenges, it has a very high count. So it's been heavily tested in general in cEDH tournaments. And if you look at the win rate on Cabbage Merchant, it has a minus 0.15. But that isn't that big of a deal. Because
No, it's not.
once again, depending on how you combine this, so to say, with other synergies, it's gonna be great. But it's not.
So if I could speak against it, so like it's got the good synergy with when we got token stuff. If you got Chatterfang, it's got good synergy if you have the Peregrine Tooks angle. That's decent. I have found this card to either be absolutely waste of time garbage or everything I could ever need getting me there way farther than it should. It is
polarizing.
It is the most either way card that I swear to God has ever existed for us. Because there are games where if you get it out early enough, yeah, it gets you everything in a bowl of soup. You love that. But there are games where you see it too late in the game. It's like, man, I hope this is an interaction piece. It's cabbages. It's like...
Right. I'm going to tell you a story.
Can I say,
I'm going to tell you a lovely
this is-
story from one of the biggest tournaments I've been to recently.
hit it up.
Mental misplay on the lake in Ohio, 200 player
Yeah.
tournament. I bubbled terribly. I went undefeated the entire weekend. I went 205. But Cabbage Merchant was responsible, like single-handedly, for one of my wins. In a pod that was extremely difficult for me, I think. I was locked under an opposition. Well, I was about to be locked under an opposition agent. I had one tutor to my name, and it was towards the end of the game. It had been 7 or 8 turns. It was a long game. My last tutor of the game before I got hit with an opposition agent was Cabbage, and that card won me the game on that turn cycle.
I believe it.
One of the decks was a Spellslinger deck, and that deck started trying to ritual up, wheeled us into brand new hands after ritualing up and giving me about 6 or 7 foods. And then right after that, I got enough food out of that single turn while they were still trying to ritual out and still trying to win off of the new hand that they had drawn to go above them and win by flashing in, by tutoring for Selvala, flashing in Hidden Footblade to give it haste, and activating Selvala off of just food. What? And they right before the wheel, I used 2 of the food to suspend the opposition agent, which was
again,
the last card of my hand.
Again, like that's an excellent example of when that card is the peak of the ceiling of the height of the best because you're playing against so many Spellslinger decks. Like there are Ral decks. T&K still wants to cast spells, but
that's the benefit of kind of the toolbox of it.
Absolutely.
You don't have to get Cabbage Merchant unless you know that the game is going to support it.
Yeah.
You don't have to play it unless you know the game is going to support it. But everyone casts some non-creature spells. Yes. And I think getting 1 or 2 mana out of a Cabbage Merchant is just fine.
Decent enough.
What I'd be interested to see, Mons, is if Cabbage Merchant is better in decks that are running like the Thorical Breach stuff, because my deck, like, my deck doesn't spend nearly as much mana as theirs does. Like if you're spinning Sisay a bunch, you're spending like probably 10x the amount of mana that I'm going to spend in a game I win. So like
easily.
So like,
do you want to see Underworld Breach, Cabbage Merchant, and Grixis stuff in general, so to say, next to each other?
Yeah, I want to see if Cabbage is better in the chowder list than it is in the non-chowder list because their deck needs like bulk mana to win. That's kind of its
For
game
sure.
plan. Is like
For
use
sure.
Selvala or Tithe to make bulk mana and then spend it. Whereas I'm like, give me 2 mana and I will Dark Ritual out of Nas or something. Or like, so for me, I have found Cabbage to be pretty solid, and it's because I don't actually need like bulk mana. It makes like more than enough for my purpose.
I mean, even for me, this version of the deck wants to try to convert small amounts of mana into a lot of mana very fast.
Absolutely.
Like, if I have access to 4 mana, I'm trying to turn that into a win a lot of the time, and I think this version of the deck does a really good job of doing that. Just by giving things haste or like untapping things that normally can't be untapped. Like I'm looking at 4 mana on my turn, but that 4 mana is actually 12 mana. Like,
I have your answer, Turtle, and I'm gonna make your beautiful faces disappear for a second. So we have 2 different clusters here. So we have Underworld Breach, Adnos, Fastest Oracle, and Demon Consultation in one 4-card group. And then we have all of those 4 cards plus the Cabbage Merchant. And the non-Cabbage Merchant gets 6.4, and the Cabbage Merchant gets 6.1. So
so it goes down.
It goes down with the Cabbage Merchant in it.
Interesting. That's very interesting, actually.
And if you look at the Cabbage Merchant, it has a pair with all of these cards, and that is because Vile Smasher and things like that, and some Sisay builds do play that. But in general, you are doing better without it, it looks like.
And we look at Cabbage Merchant with things like, let me look at something that might come up in a regular list. Can we look at that with something like Warren Soul Trader and Chatterfang?
I don't think we're gonna have. We can try.
It might not be a pair, but I just want to see what it kind of looks like if possible.
Chatterfang and Warren Soul Trader is a pair, but they don't have, like we showcased in the.
They don't have
we don't have that much games with them, so it's gonna be hard to evaluate that. If you, so to say, and like the numbers shouldn't be trusted. That's what I'm trying to say. So to say.
Gotcha. I just wanted to see what it looks like, just for a surface comparison.
It is down. No, so we have a cluster of the Cabbage Merchant, Warren Soul Trader, Chatterfang Squirrel General, with an average pair power of 5.1, and that's bad.
I'm surprised it's 100%.
Sorry.
I'm surprised it's 100% on the data coverage on that one. But
it's just that they have games, but they like the pairs haven't been evaluated properly yet, so to say. Yes.
Okay.
If we actually go to the leaderboard and look at the Cabbage Merchant, okay, Cabbage Merchant actually has a lot of data on it. It has a lot of pairs, a very high total confidence. So the card has been figured out. But
I think so, because like it's a generically good green card, right? Like if you're on green, typically it's a great card. 100%.
Yes, but it hasn't been played enough with Warren Soul Trader and Chatterfang.
Makes sense.
But it has been played with the Grixis stuff, and in that sense, it doesn't really bring anything big to them, so to say.
Gotcha. So I think I'm gonna do the last 2, since we're getting over the 3. We're getting over the 2.5 hour mark here, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the last 2 cards as kind of a combo. Partly because they work together, and partly because they kind of enable each other a little bit, just going on that same synergy sort of bent that the whole deck is on. My goal with this version of the deck was to create a version of the deck where every card that you draw works together in some way that is powerful, right? Like I don't draw that many cards. Like I'm not drawing as many cards as say a blue farm or like even like a rock thrash, for instance. But I want every card that I draw to be valuable to each other. That way, no matter what I draw, I'm putting myself in a better position at almost all times. Either I'm drawing a piece of interaction to stop my opponents, or I'm drawing a piece that advances my board state and recombines with something that I've already played previously.
Right. Makes sense.
So for that reason, we're going to talk about Brigid and Ashaya and her friends. Ashaya, I feel like has to be talked about in combination with all her friends.
What page is Ashaya?
Ashaya
I don't even think Ashaya had a page.
She does have a page, actually.
She does? Oh, okay, my bad.
Surprisingly, Ashaya is on page 60.
Oh, yeah.
She's here.
So the play rate on
Ashaya
is on 1.6, so it's not heavily played in CC in general.
I am the only person playing this card. I guarantee you. I'm pretty sure this card's inclusion on this list is literally only because I've made top 16 with it so many times since I included it. It is on its surface, like by itself, not worthwhile. Like I don't think that Ashaya itself is a good card. I think in my deck it acts as kind of a pseudo replacement for Essica that is actually that is a combo piece instead.
For sure.
I like Essica and I like effects like it. That's why I'm on Enduring Vitality, because I'm heavy on creatures. But Ashaya itself, I think, is not a strong card. So I can look at the win rate being negative 0.5 and say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense for this individual card. The cards that go alongside it, though, I think those cards are better cards individually. And because Ashaya doesn't have to come down until those cards are already on the board, I think Ashaya's personal effectiveness doesn't lead into that. Ashaya is like my ad nause. Like I'm landing this card, and when I land this card, I'm going to kill you. I'm not trying to land this card and then play the game for 10 turns, right? I'm trying to essentially put myself in a position where when I untap, I have 5 mana and I'm going to play this card and you're going to...
Fair.
And that's the plan. That's Ashaya's plan. She's Summoner's Pactable, so I can get her without having to like go really hard on spending mana to find her. She makes all my other creatures tap for green mana, which is nice. I can filter all that into Soul Cauldron. Great. But she has negative synergies with other cards in the deck. She has negative synergy with Kinnan. Your creatures, if you have like if you have Enduring Vitality or something like that, no longer tap for double mana because they're all lands now. Badger Mole Cub kind of like seals that hole a little bit by allowing them to still tap for double mana, but now you're only tapping for double green. So you have to have a filter in order to really make Ashaya work. However, the cards that go alongside her, namely Kyrian Ranger and Algothian Elder, are both better cards individually. I can effectively play the game almost alone with a Yavimaya Cradle of Growth, a Birds of Paradise, and a Kyrian Ranger.
What page is Kyrian Ranger on?
He is not on a page. He does not.
Doesn't surprise me.
If Quirion was on one of those pages, I would have done a backflip.
Oh wait, no, he is.
No.
He is on a page. He is on page.
All right, hold on. I gotta get ready for my backflip. 1 second.
Oh, he's also a play rate of 4, by the way.
So yeah, it is literally just you making those stats occur.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
What page was it on?
Single-handedly, Argothian Elder somehow, for some reason, does not have a page, even though he's always been in the deck alongside all of them.
I wonder if it's because like Quirion Ranger is like just a better played card in more decks than just Sisay. I don't know.
Is Argothian Elder just named something different? It's just not here. I tried searching for it a couple times and it's not showing up. But I have never been on Ashaya, Kyrian Ranger, and not Argothian Elder.
Don't know right now. But Quirion Ranger, yeah, it's still only you playing this.
Yes. So just yesterday, honestly, in my game 1, I nearly won the game with my only land of the entire game being a Yavimaya Cradle of Growth. My turn 1 was Yavimaya, Lotus Petal, and a Kyrian and Birds. My second turn was play Yavimaya, not use Yavimaya to play Kyrian Ranger, return Yavimaya to my hand, tap the birds to untap the birds, play Yavimaya.
That's decent. That's damn decent, honestly.
And so, like, it effectively turns any forest and a dork into 4 mana if you didn't have a land drop that turn. And I think that's one of the most, like, because we don't draw that many cards and because we're not really guaranteed our land drop, making any one of your lands be replayable effectively is super strong.
Yeah, you're recycling your lands. That's awesome.
Exactly. And being able to untap things like Gwenna can turn that one land and say Gwenna and a Kyrian Ranger into a whole tutor, which is nuts. Like you're turning 2 creatures into a whole Sisay tutor or a whole or a cast of multiple creatures in a turn. So you can really create a wide board state really fast because you have access technically to a lot more mana than you should on this turn. Because you didn't make your you didn't make your land drop, but guess what? You made your land drop anyway. Argothian Elder is kind of the same way. If I have a very like highly accelerated start, like I have a 4 mana T2, a T2 Argothian Elder turns my T4 into 7 mana, or my T3 into 7 mana, right? Like that. Being able to untap 2 target lands lets me untap a Ancient Tomb and another land. Lets me untap 2 lands that make 4 colors.
Doesn't he untap himself?
It can untap itself if it is a land. So that's what Ashaya is for.
Yeah.
So Ashaya gives him the ability to target himself and any other land, which is an infinite combo because now you can activate Argothian Elder targeting itself because it is a forest land and say your command tower, untap both of them and just repeat and like just do the disco ball and just spin your Argothian Elder around in a circle. Now you have infinite mana of all colors because you can tap the land before you untap it with your Argothian Elder to make any mana of any color. And then you can play Sisay if you want to. You can you don't have to play Sisay before establishing your. And on top of that, because Ashaya makes sure things lands, it turns off several bounce spells.
Sure, like Cycrift into the Flood Maw, stuff like that.
Exactly. Like you can no longer be targeted by those things. You can't be blown out.
And then you cast Culling Ritual.
Right after that, you cast Culling Ritual. But yeah, so those sorts of ability to set up, I think, give you a lot of powerful synergy without a ton of card draw. The card that you're drawing all say, we are gonna help that card that you already had. We're that card's buddy, right? Even no matter what order you play them in, they're still buddies. They're still friends. They still want to help each other. They're still doing the things that they need to do.
Yeah.
Happy tree friends.
Exactly. Bridget is a lot of the same. Bridget is just another cradle. But the great thing about Bridget is that Bridget taps for 2 different colors of mana and 2 very important colors of mana. She can tap with just her friend and the dork that you played with 1 land to cast Sisay immediately. As soon as she flips over. She can cast Flash Thompson to untap herself and then tap for green with floating white. So you can create these situations where you have secret mana. You have mana that you didn't really like. It wasn't sitting on your board. It's mana that's hidden in your hand and mana that's hidden on your board that people aren't going to be thinking about. No one's going to be thinking that, oh, he might have Flash Thompson in his hand to tap Bridget for white and then untap Bridget and then tap Bridget for more green and create a tutor with his Soul Cauldron. Right? No one's going to be thinking about that. They're going to be thinking about Bridget makes 3 mana right now. I'm not afraid, right? And that allows you a lot more leeway in order to create these situations where you obfuscate information. You play from your hand instead of just playing from your deck where people think you're going to be playing from because you've essentially showed your hand that you're a traditional Sisay deck once you start playing cards like Bridget. But there are tricks that you can do that are far and beyond what normal decks can do.
And to like, as a little more of a generic thing, like that's what Sisay is all about, right?
Mhm.
We are the OG toolbox deck.
Yeah.
You can be soup. You can be land combo. You could be just generic 5-color good stuff with some dudes built in. There's not necessarily a wrong way to build Sisay. It's what it really comes down to. Hey, that was one of my favorite casual decks. You be nice about shrines. But like the biggest thing to take away from any of this is that there are pilot preferences. The 3 of us, the 4 of us, even you, Mons, like we're all very intelligent players when it comes to this deck. We have so many ways of playing the deck, so many versions that we enjoy, so many small niche cards that we might hate from each other but love ourselves personally. And that's what it's going to come down to. Pilot preference.
Yeah, I think something we've been touching a lot in this video is that you can combine things it has to be combined correctly to make it work, so to say. There's a lot of small cards that, this card is good on its own, but you want to build more synergy to make it work. Like all of us are somewhat
100%.
very successful at this, but we have different builds. It's because it's complemented together.
Exactly.
And that's what makes Sisay
You can't
really
just
fun.
be shoving in everything into a pile. You still need to be able to like you said, synergize well. Synergize well, yeah.
Oh, one last thing I wanted to include about Bridget. A lot of people think that Bridget is a one-off that is only a cradle. Bridget is actually one of my kill outs. Yeah, I kill people with it. Do you want to know how? The fun way to kill people, if you lose your Mount Doom for whatever reason and you like it's in your graveyard, it got blown up by a Besieger or something, like you couldn't execute your combo.
Right.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna win at instant speed by getting Emil. We're gonna flicker Bridget. Once we have infinite mana, we're gonna flicker Bridget infinite times. When Bridget ETB, she's gonna make her ETB makes a Kithkin token. That you can make infinite Kithkin tokens, and now I can go get Deadpool. I'm going to get Deadpool. I'm going to flicker Deadpool infinite times and exchange text boxes with my infinite Kithkin tokens. And then I'm going to spend my infinite mana to force you all to draw your decks.
Okay,
you're
that's
not protected.
Cool.
You're not protected by One Ring. You can't do anything because I have infinite mana and infinite Kithkin tokens. So if you try to do anything, I'm just going to make you draw more cards until you die.
Am I crazy? I thought that combo is also possible with OBM.
It is possible with OBM.
Yeah.
But you also have to flicker the OBM. It's a little bit more complicated. But if you can flicker OBM infinite times, you can already kill everyone.
Yeah. If you have Emil and already an OBM, you don't need Deadpooling Brigade.
Yeah. Right. The better part about the Deadpool / Brigade way of doing it is that Brigade not only starts making the infinite mana first, but since she's already on the board, she can already then be used to make the infinite tokens after the infinite mana.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's embedded in the combo in a way that OBM really isn't, and then Deadpool is tutorable, and so is Brigade. So like if you already have infinite mana from another source, Brigade can come in from the deck and say, because whatever. Obviously, Kinnan can go get you the OBM, but if you've lost Kinnan, now you can't do that. So like it's like a layered way of saying, all right, even if I don't have Kinnan, even if I don't have Mount Doom, even if I don't have all these other things, I still have a way of killing you in my deck.
It's the backup to the backup to the backup. Yeah, of course. And that's what we do so well as a toolbox is like, we have all these wonky combos. Like I was playing Skrull for a long time for the exact same reason of if you infinitely flicker Skrull, give all of your creatures, toxic 10, toxic 1 billion. Also, they're unblockable. Eat shit. Like it was just that's like again another reason why I think all of us still play Sisay. There's so many different ways to do it. So many different ways to have fun.
I just like that this works at instant speed too. Like
sure does.
Yeah, I wanted more instant speed outs. I really hope we get like another Emil of some sort, so like we're not locked into only playing Emil as our flicker out. If you want to be on traditional, like those are the types of things that I want to see in like new sets, like things that are interesting or more or better or even copies of things we already have. Because all the tools we already have are already really good.
I want to see Donnie Darkside get unbanned.
If Darkside gets unbanned, I think I might be sad as a player. I'm not gonna lie.
We're not gonna go down that Donnie Darko rabbit hole. It can last forever, and we don't need to do that today.
No. But I think we had a very good conversation about the various builds, the many ways of getting down to it, our personal pilot preferences. I think for anyone who's trying to get into Sisay, this is an excellent way to see. These are the stats. These are the homies that are trying their best to make sure we have Sisay be our #1 girl on page. And I think we did a good job.
About that, before I want to hear a small maybe shout out or outro, but Discord guys, is there a good Discord you would like to recommend for people who are want to build Sisay and maybe want to have conversations around that?
Well, of course, if you want to come through for almost every build for Sisay, the Weatherlight Completed, owned by Mr. Malcolm himself, modded by myself and our buddy Lynx. We do our best to keep it fun, casual, or competitive, and talk about whatever the hell you might need as far as Sisay goes.
As long as it's not Orcish leafcaller.
And as opposed to, I gotta look down. And then for Turtle Pod, what's going on with you, buddy?
So there is a chowder Discord. It's we refer to it as the sister survey of the Weatherlight Complete. There's links to the other survey in each one. So if you find
you'll be able to find the other. Yeah.
To make it even easier, links in the description below of this video to both Discords if you are interested in it.
Come on
Perfect.
down.
Yeah, so
We'll yell at you about whatever's in your deck.
Yeah, the Cult of Clam is where we discuss Chowder. It is a wartime server. We do ban people who post if you put a nickel bolus in there, you're banned on site. There's no appeals. So it is a wartime server. So that's just a warning. But
we have Winnie Hut General in comparison.
that's right. Yes, they're much larger, and so they appeal to broad people. The
Sure.
Cult of Clam is truly a cult. We are.
It's a cutthroat
It's
situation.
just the best deck. We and the rules reflect as such.
Absolutely.
Guys, thank you so much for coming here and sharing your Sisay knowledge.
Thank you for having us, Mons. It's
Thank
always
you.
a pleasure.
I know this was a long one, but
Yeah.
I hope everybody got something good out of this that they were
Absolutely.
might have been looking for.
Come on down to the servers, and we hope to see you there.
Thank you.
Peace.
Have a good one, everybody.
Later.